Now, we are going to find out who is in the grand final right now, and we are live. Hey guys, how you going? So down BKR Sport. We are live as the Brisbane Broncos are going to be taking on the Penrith Panthers for a place against the Melbourne Storm in the grand final for 2025. We are finally here. We're getting right to the thick of the damn well season now, where we are very soon going to know our grand finalists, and it can be potentially the exact same grand final as last year, the exact same grand final as 2020, if the Panthers do go and win this game, as they are favourites too. They've won 4 premierships in a row. We also could get a very heated game between the Broncos and the Storm, where the Broncos and Storm have had a rivalry for a long time, to be completely honest with you. Back in the 2000s, mid-2000s, around 2006 and all the way up until probably about 2010-11, the Storm and the Broncos had a pretty heated rivalry, and then the Broncos fell off for a while. No, they made the grand final in 2015, but that was an anomaly of a year, really, in the 2010s, and then the early 2020s, we all know what happened with the Broncos too, but the Broncos and Storm have never really liked each other. It's always been a rivalry between these two teams, and it's going to be interesting if they were to face each other in the grand final, especially with the fact that the Broncos and Storm, the Storm usually beat them. They usually beat them quite consistently, but even though, ignoring the context, the Broncos did beat the Storm in the last round of the regular season to make sure they got into the top 4, which is why they get the home game here, because they did win their first week matchup against the Raiders, who went on straight sets, right? So that's why the Broncos are here at Suncorp Stadium with their home game against the Panthers in a return match of the 2023 Grand Final, where these two teams both got to play against each other. We all know how it went. I'm not telling you anything brand new here by saying the Broncos led 24-8 with about 15-16 minutes to go in that Grand Final. I was there at this game. And then the Panthers broke the hearts. They broke their hearts and won the game 26-24 with Nathan Cleary leading the comeback and really getting the Panthers going. And then he obviously scored the game-winning try as well. So there's a lot of animosity between these two teams, more so from the Broncos standpoint, considering that the Broncos were taken away grand final in those last dying seconds once they threw it away in that last 15 minutes. So a lot to play for here for both teams in regards to getting through to the grand final, but also a lot to play for in regards to the Broncos to re-establish themselves and get revenge from the Panthers, whilst the Panthers, they're currently going for 5 premierships in a row. They've won 4 grand finals in a row. They've been in 5 grand finals in a row. If they win this, they'd be in their 6th grand final in a row and a chance at winning 5 premierships in a row, which is just unheard of in the modern era. Yes, the Dragons went and did it back in the 60s. They won 11 in a row, but a very different time then. A lot less teams, a lot less of a professional sport comparatively to what it is nowadays. It was still professional for their time, and that's why you can't really compare eras, but it's just not as professional as it is now. So it's such an incredible and an immense achievement from the Panthers, and you've got to respect it because they have developed from within. It's not like they've gone and bought players here, there, and everywhere from other teams. They've developed it through their own systems that Gus Gould, before he went to the Panthers, was obviously able to achieve here at Penrith. So I really do respect that, man. And despite the fact that we would ultimately like to see a different grand final, winners win, and you have to respect the success and the development of what this Penrith team has been able to do. They weren't the worst team ever prior to their explosion in 2020. They were kind of situated around that 9th through 14th area quite consistently. They weren't that great, but sometimes they'd make the finals too. They just weren't anything spectacular, but they weren't really, really bad either. But then they've just really come into their own, which has been really impressive. So that's why I respect it regardless. But guys, the game does start in 1 hour's time, so we've got plenty of preview here. We're going to go through the Broncos team lineup and analyse them, the Panthers team lineup and analyse them. We'll talk about the latter, and then I'm going to also bring up some stats in regards to from round 20 onwards, because I feel like that's the most fair and valid way of kind of looking into teams coming into the preliminary final, on the basis that it's not necessarily including from rounds 1 to 10, where we know the Panthers were really, really poor and the Broncos were very up and down. More about the form coming into this game here, and it's quite interesting when you look at these statistics to see from round 20 onwards. But then we'll get into the chat. We'll see what you are saying. Obviously, like I said, this is going to be a belter of a game here. Whoever wins will make the grand final. So get involved in the chat. Let us know what you're thinking. And here we go. Fire it on up. Thumbs up, guys. Subscribe if you're new around here. And don't forget to check out our other channel. Oh, I just realised the Sharks haven't been eliminated on this ladder yet. Oh, boy. Hello? What's going on there? Oh, no, they are. Oh, sorry. I don't know. It wasn't showing it for me, but they are. It's showing it now. Sorry, I was going to say, Sharkies, mate, you lost on Friday. Dear me. Don't you try and scam us. You scammed us enough this season, Cronulla. Don't you try and scam not being eliminated, because you've been eliminated, son. You've been eliminated. Yeah, buddy. Scam, scam. But all right, let's get into these two lineups. Like I said, thumbs up and subscribe. The Brisbane Broncos, they come into this game from 4th position, and after a bye week, after their win against the Canberra Raiders in Canberra in the first week of the finals. The Panthers, they come at this game from 7th position. A team outside of the top 4 in the NRL have never won the premiership before, so they could have that history on their hands as well if they can go on and win the premiership from 7th position, and this is at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. Now the ins here, Adam Reynolds, Ezra Mam, Jack Kasiewski and Xavier Willison for the Broncos, with the outs being Billy Walters, Jaden Hunt and Patrick Carrigan. I'm going to refresh this quickly because the final team list will come out now. The final team list will come out, well, over the next minute or 2 minutes or so. So I've got to actually wait a minute or two before that updates, because it's an hour before the game. It hasn't updated just yet on NRL.com. So I just want to wait that last little second. I want to wait that last little second here before we before we read through these team lineups, because it will potentially change any moment now. It will potentially. But either way, like, we all know that Xavier Willison, Ezra Mam and Adam Reynolds coming back into the team is absolutely massive. You know, Adam Reynolds, he did get injured in the game against the Storm where they lost 22-2. They looked well and truly up for that before the Storm did end up running away with that game. And the same thing goes with Ezra Mam. They both got injured in that very game. Which was a heartbreak, and we thought that was the Broncos' season done. You know, we genuinely thought, okay, well, the Broncos, they simply can't get up from here. They're going to have to put Ben Hunt into the 7, Billy Walters into the 6, and then the 9 goes to, I think it was Corey Pakes for the most part of that back end, and he is Corey Pakes is the hooker now. The point of the matter is that those guys going out, we thought, okay, shit, they're done for. But they weren't. They decided since that point, I'm pretty certain they won every single game. Let me just quickly go have a look here. To make sure that they did win every single game from that point. I can't remember a game that they lost after it. So they beat the Dolphins 38-28. They beat the Knights 46-12. Beat the Cowboys 38-30 in a controversial one. Those 3 games were quite well expected, though, considering they're very much lowly ranked teams. But with that being said, we still had heavy doubts they were going to be able to win those, with the fact that they were missing so many players. And then they went into to beat the Storm 30-14, beat the Raiders 29-28. So yeah, once they did lose those guys, and I would make an argument, a decent enough argument, that the Broncos did actually look better without them in a lot of ways. They did actually look a bit better there. Well, it hasn't updated, so I'm feeling like this is just the straight up lineup. So I will be able to go through it now. But hopefully things don't change, and if they do, then I'll refresh it. But Adam Reynolds and Ezra Mam huge back in, but it's a frustrating thing for the Broncos, where they have to decide where these guys are going to play, you know, and especially with how well they've been going. Like, if something's not broke, don't fix it. But the biggest issue is the outs, Billy Walters, Jaden Hunt and Patrick Carrigan. Billy Walters has been incredible for them in the 5'8", and apparently he was a 5'8" coming through the young system, but then was placed into the hooker by the Tigers and then by the Broncos. And I didn't really rate him a great deal in the 9 at all. I thought that in the 14 position coming on, I thought he did quite well. But in that 6, he really came on as a player. In that 5'8", over these last few weeks, Billy Walters has been exceptional. Like, exceptional. And I think that's a huge loss for him tonight. They've actually decided, we'll get into the lineup now, because I need to talk about who they've decided to put into the 6. Okay, it's updated now. It is updated now. So yeah, the ins are Adam Reynolds, Ezra Mam and Xavier Willison. The outs are Billy Walters, Jaden Hunt and Patrick Carrigan. So they've obviously dropped Jaden, they've dropped Gasiewski off of the extra men there. All right, so that's the Broncos ins and outs. The fullback is Reece Walsh, with the wingers being Josiah Kodopani and Dean Mariner. Centres of Kotoni Staggs and Gehamat Shibasaki. The 5'8" is Ben Hunt. The halfback is Adam Reynolds, who is the captain, with the front row forwards being Corey Jensen and Payne Haas. The number 9, Corey Pakes. Back row, Brendan Piakura and Jordan Ricky. The 13 is Tyson Smoothie, with the interchange being Ezra Mam, Kobe Hetherington, Xavier Willison and Ben Talty. The 18th man replacement is Jesse Arthurs, and the coach is Michael Maguire. So overall, they have decided to put Ezra Mam to the 14 and keep Ben Hunt in the hub so they can keep Corey Pakes in that number 9. I'm not necessarily against this by any stretch of the imagination. However, it is a very interesting decision with Ezra Mam, who has been a very key and integral part of their team for many years now. To keep Ben Hunt and chuck him into that 6 is quite interesting, especially with them both, Ben Hunt and Adam Reynolds, being defining dominant halves in that situation where they're both defining halfbacks, whilst Ezra Mam is definitely not a defining halfback. He is a 5'8". So I get why they're doing it, because you don't want to change too much of what's been a winning formula. They've had to change out Billy Walters due to the injury. It would have actually been really interesting to see what this Broncos team would have done if Billy Walters was fit and healthy for this game, because you do need to fit Adam Reynolds and Ezra Mam back into the team at some point. But considering that Ben Hunt in the 7 and Ezra Mam and Billy Walters was working so well in that 6 and 7, it would have been super interesting to see if they had the balls to put Adam Reynolds potentially to the 14. Or, potentially even having as 18th man if it wasn't in their processes. The same thing goes with Ezra Mam. They would have chosen, if they had have gone with Billy Walters in the 6 and Ben Hunt in the 7, well then Ezra Mam and Adam Reynolds are kind of fighting it out for that spot there as the 14 potentially. And you probably would be leaning with more so of the Ezra Mam there in regards to how a 14 plays, which would have been a ballsy decision. They've obviously not had to make that decision now because of the injury to Billy Walters, but it still remains very interesting that they've got Ben Hunt in that 6 rather than Ezra there. But we'll see how that one does pan out. Their 1 through 5 is very strong. On paper, Josiah Kotapani and Dean Mariner don't necessarily look like the biggest players when it comes to the wing department there, especially considering they've clearly moved on from Selwyn Cobbo in a lot of aspects. I know Cobbo is injured, but they have decided pretty much that they are looking to move on from Selwyn Cobbo anyway. But Gehemaj Shibasaki had a great year this year where he obviously played really well for the Queensland Origin winning team. Don't forget that, New South Wales fans. Queensland winning team. I'll remind you of it, Zach. Yes, I will remind you of it. But that's a great centre pairing of Tony Staggs and Shibasaki. Just need Shibasaki to keep up this form, because prior to this year he wasn't great, was getting passed around clubs like no tomorrow, and now he's really made a name for himself and is demanding some big bucks going on from next year, because I think he might be off contract at the end of this year. So I think the Broncos are looking to potentially offload. So he needs to really perform to be the guy that will get a potential contract with, say, Perth when they come in, or other clubs that are struggling right now that could be looking for a centre. He needs to play out of his skin, but Tony Staggs is the potential for a centre of the year with how well he's been playing. But that 1 through 5 is great, and look, we all know how important Reece Walsh is to this team. If Reece Walsh is firing, the Broncos have a chance. If Reece Walsh does not fire, the Panthers win this game in a canter. It really is that simple, but the issue that I have with Reece Walsh in a game like this is that we saw Reece Walsh really become the player we needed him to be once Adam Reynolds and Ezra Mam actually weren't in the team. When they were gone, that's when Reece exploded, because Reece for the first half of this year was actually quite awful. He was really bad. He was having a really, really poor year where he was trying so hard to lift the team, but would make a lot of mistakes in the process. Sometimes he'd be able to get it going, but overall, the first half of this year, he had like an injury at one point, but overall, he was just trying a little bit too hard to, I guess, supersede what Reno and Ezra Mam were doing and Ben Hunt in the 9. It felt like he was just trying a little bit too hard, which is fine, but it just wasn't really coming off. As soon as Adam Reynolds and Ezra Mam go, and Ben Hunt goes to the 7, and Billy Walters goes to the 6, it's like he had the opportunity to explode as the player that we know he can be. And in this back half of the season, Reece Walsh has arguably been the best player in the competition with the way he's been playing post-Origin, which, again, I will say, there was no way he was ever getting into Origin. We had this argument with people so many times. But if he was playing with this form, right this very second, pre-Origin, then absolutely you'd be considering that. But the form pre-Game 3 Origin all the way through to the first part of the season, he was really, really poor. It's just been great to see his transformation once two guys there, and Ezra and Adam Reynolds, actually went out. So it's an intriguing prospect to see what he does now with Reynolds in the 7 and Ben Hunt in the 6, which is a different mix-up. But can Reece Walsh still be that leading figure? Can he still be the leading figure with Adam Reynolds coming back in and then Ezra Mam? And I know that they're all close and they're all good mates and whatnot, but it just didn't seem seemed like Reece was suiting that halves pairing throughout most of this year until the real red-hot back stretch that they've had. The front row forwards, so the forwards in general, it's great to see Xavier Willison back onto this team list and into the interchange. He's a fantastic prop there. Payne Haas is obviously going to probably win prop of the year again. That's how incredible he is. We will be live on Wednesday night, guys, for the Dally M, so we're always here live for the entirety of the night. Corey Jensen is starting, which does make sense there. Do need to see a bit more, though, out of Jordan Ricky and Brendan Piakura, especially Jordan Ricky, but we've gone to death in regards to the conversation surrounding him for a long time now, and it hasn't died away yet. But Piakura, we all know what kind of talent he can be, but we just need to see him really dominate. It's just the interesting one of Tyson Smoothie there in that 13, which I understand, but comparatively to Isaiah on the other side, you're just like, well, there's a clear gap there between the two. But overall, this Broncos team, they are well deserving of being in the position they are. In the second half of this season, they have absolutely fired on and found a way to win. That Raiders game was just spectacular in the fact that they were down and out throughout that game. Yes, there was a controversial call in regards to Hudson Young and also the penalty going against Raiders, which is absolutely vehemently disagreed with from my standing point and most people's standing point. But the Broncos still clearly were the better team there and won the game. The Raiders could not get over the line, and then went and lost by a considerable margin to the Sharks the week after. It's like that was their grand final loss, the Raiders against the Broncos. That really hurt them. So, yeah, look, this Broncos team has every ability to win this game, especially being at Suncorp. It's going to be completely sold out. There won't be a single seat available, and there is a lot of players here that did still play in that 2023 grand final that will want revenge. Guys like Reece Walsh, guys like Tony Staggs, not Ben Hunt, but I guess, he wants to make up for what happened in 2015. He kind of did so against the Raiders, but, if he can go and lead them to a premiership, everything will be forgotten in a lot of ways. Adam Reynolds was obviously a key figure in that loss against the Panthers in 2023 with the lack of game management skills that we did see from him. Corey Jensen would have been there. Payne Haas was definitely there. I remember when I was coming out of the sheds, well, not the sheds, but coming out of the press conferences at the end of the game, I was walking out to leave the stadium, and Payne Haas was just, he was devastated. He was sitting down. He was, you could definitely tell he had been tearing up and crying, and I love that about him because it shows his emotion, shows his passion, and shook his hand and said, next time, mate, next time you just got to keep on grinding, and he acknowledged, and we moved, man. But it was a really sad sight actually because it showed how much effort and how much he cared, and that's what you want to see in rugby league. That's why I was so happy to see Sione Katoa kind of showing those emotions. It's not just about the money. It's not just about the fame. It's about actually playing and winning and being the best possible player you can be. And I really respected Payne in that moment when I was walking out of those press conferences then. So, he's absolutely fantastic. But look, Brendan Piakura would have been there. Yes, I'm pretty certain. Jordan Ricky was definitely there. Ezra was obviously there. So anyway, long story short, there's a lot of players here that are looking to get revenge for that 2023 grand final. But I don't want that to completely encapsulate them in this game because the Panthers can frustrate the living shit out of you. And if there's one team that can't handle frustration, it is the Broncos because of guys like Reece Walsh. When things get frustrating, he does kind of, shit hits the fan there. There's quite a lot of players in this team that can allow the game to get away from them from a style that the Panthers do play. And that's exactly kind of what we saw in 2023, but it's also what we see from this Broncos team quite regularly. So that's the biggest chance of them losing this game, is if they buy into the frustration and can just completely fall away from that and allow Panthers to dictate this game. You can't allow Penrith to dictate the game. Now we move on to the Penrith Panthers and their team lineup. There is no ins, no outs, no shake it all abouts. This is the exact same team that they beat the Bulldogs with last week. The exact same team that they know they have a chance to go and win their 5th straight premiership. Now the fullback is Dylan Edwards, with the wingers being Paul Alamotti and Brian To'o. Centres of Isaac Tungo and Casey McLean, who is apparently a chance at a centre of the year position, which is quite odd. I would put Toto Tauquola over him, but either way, he's still had a decent enough year. The 5'8" is Blaze Talangi, with the halfback being Nathan Cleary, who is the captain. The props are Moses Leota and Lindsay Smith, with the number 9 being Mitch Kenny. Back row, Scott Sorensen and Liam Martin, with the 13 being Isaiah Yeo. Interchange of Brad Schneider, Liam Henry, Isaiah Papali'i and Lou Garner, with the 18th man replacement being Dane Laurie and the coach being Ivan Cleary. This team, they deserve all the respect that they do get and they do receive. They were at one point in last position on the table. Actually, I'm going to quickly go back here to, I think it was about round 13 or so. No, round 13 they were in 14th, so maybe it was round 12. Round 12, they were in 17th position. In round 12, they were in 17th position. They were last place on the table. And then by round 27, they put themselves up a complete 10 spots all the way to 7th position. But they did go actually from 17th to the top 4 at one stage, where they were in the 4th position before they played teams like the Melbourne Storm and then the Raiders and I guess the Bulldogs. But they rested all their players in that game. It's been a miraculous season here for Penrith where they just completely fell off a cliff at the early points of the year and then have just been able to find their way right on red hot back into this competition. And now they are, based off of the way we saw them play last week, like this team genuinely has every opportunity to go and win this premiership and win it well. 46-26 over the Bulldogs, who, despite the fact they fell off in that last 2 months of the season, the Bulldogs still finished in 3rd position and did have in the regular season the best defense in the competition. They were the best defense, and the Panthers put 46 past them and actually finished the game off at halftime. The game was well and truly over, and that 26 points the Bulldogs scored, whilst a bit of a reflection here of what the Panthers do in second halves compared to their first half, that was all in dead time when the Bulldogs couldn't come back and win that game. So yeah, it's overall, this Panthers team has done so well to get themselves right back into this. And the only thing that I do want to say, however, is that I had my doubts on this Penrith team even after all their wins in that big game, that stretch. And you guys know which games I'm talking about because we speak about it quite regularly here on the channel, where they're beating teams like the Tigers, whoop-de-doo. They beat teams like the Eels when they weren't in form. Sure, Warriors very vulnerable. That Bulldogs game, 8-6, was really important. But then they're beating Eels again. They're beating the Rabbitohs, who were last at the time, the Tigers, the Titans, and the Knights. And that Titans game was very controversial in that too. So I said, as I always mention, I was looking for their 3 games against the 3 big dogs. Now, they went up against the Storm. They lost 22-18. They went up against the Raiders. They lost 20-16 in 2 heartbreaking, crucial fashions there. And then they went and lost the Bulldogs 28-4. Actually came out looking a bit of the better team in the end of that game, though, because they had 16 of their 17 players out. They rested them all. Bulldogs came through and won it, but they weren't exactly overly impressive, which is why you've seen when the Panthers played their full-strength team last week compared to the Dogs, we saw a completely different result, where the Bulldogs still scored a similar amount of points in dead time, but the Panthers went from 4 points to 46 points, which should tell you how much that game didn't mean shit when the Panthers played the Bulldogs originally for that 28-4 loss. I came into that 3-game series saying if they win all 3 games, they win the comp. If they win 2 games, then they're a genuine competitor. If they win 1 game, then I've got my concerns. If they don't win any of those games, then I don't think they win the competition. And look, can that still be proven correct? Sure, if the Broncos win today, that is still proven correct. But I didn't even necessarily expect them to get, I did tip them against the Dogs, but I didn't even necessarily expect them to get to this point. Based off of that, at the time going after round 26, I thought, okay, well, this is a pretty key sign here that when it comes to the big time, when it comes to the big time teams, maybe they just don't have what it takes. And we can find that tonight against the Broncos team that is playing a lot better than what the Bulldogs did last week. We can find that in the grand final when they take on the Storm, who'll be looking for revenge for last year's grand final. There is still a chance of that to show, but the Panthers are really firing after last week, and I'm really concerned that this team is genuinely going to go and win 5 premierships in a row. Right this very second, based off of what we saw last week, it really gave my head a complete 180 where I think, well, I probably got them as the favourites to win the comp right now. The Storm will give them a red-hot crack if the Panthers do get through this game. They'll give them a red-hot crack. But this Panthers team, depending on how they play here today, if they go on to win it, I do think that they probably beat the Storm. But the Storm and the Broncos is a very interesting matchup, which I don't know how to really cover just yet. I need to see how the winner plays here today, because the Storm, they had every right to lose that game to Cronulla on Friday, but Cronulla were just being Cronulla. Nico Hines dropping the ball 15 metres out. You've got Braden Trindle stripping the ball in the tackle, which was just stupid as they just fought all their way back in to be within 1 score, and then he gives away a 2-pointer to make it back to a 2-score game and 8 points. So many issues in that game across the game where they just weren't able to get over the line, and I feel like a Broncos or Panthers would have beaten that Storm team on Friday night. So that's why that makes it super interesting for next week with a beatable Storm team that we've seen throughout this season, where they even lost to Manly at home at Amy Park. So next week we'll obviously cover that one well and truly in depth when we get to it. But overall, this Panthers team, they have every right to win this game themselves at Suncorp Stadium. The biggest issue that I find is Dylan Edwards. His form in this last third of the season after Origin has just been on a massive downwards trajectory. He's making so many crucial knock-ons in the second half, and that's how this game is probably going to look towards. The Broncos don't usually start off red hot in the first half, but they really go into the game. They really start to explode as the second half team. The Broncos are the best second half team in the competition. Sharks, up until Friday, were very equal with them, but the Broncos have got that high energy, that high pace that the second half can really explode for them, but their first half, they struggle. The Panthers, on the other hand, they are the complete opposite. In the first half of games, they are very clearly the best team in the competition. But in the second half of games, they do fall away. You go back to that Storm game, they led by about 8 points at halftime and then lost it. They go back to that Raiders game, they led by a similar margin by like 8 points at halftime, and guess what? They lost it. Against the Dragons, they still gave up quite a few points in that second half when they'd already won the game. And then you go back to that Bulldogs game last week, where in the Warriors game was a bit of a separator because they didn't give up too many points that second half, which was a good sign. But that Bulldogs game last week, they completely and absolutely demolished the Bulldogs in the first half, where at halftime it was 36 points to 8. And then in the second half, and granted the game is over by this point, they scored 10 points, but the Bulldogs went and scored 18 points. So the Bulldogs still won that second half there. Again, granted, the game was well and truly over by halftime. But the point is that it does still link up with the trajectory of the Panthers falling away in the second half and being dominant in the first half, whilst the Broncos, they don't really do too well in the first half, but really usually come home strong in the second half, which is what they did against the Raiders. It's what they did earlier on in the season against the Sharks. They do it against a lot of teams. So they're very polar opposite, these two. But the only issue that I find is that if the Panthers lead this game at halftime 18-0 or whatever, or 24-6 or whatever, an 18-point game, I don't think this Panthers defense and this experienced this Panthers team will give up that big time lead. I think the Broncos would be able to work their way back into it, but I don't know if the Panthers are going to give up a big lead like that. So the biggest key thing here for the Broncos is to not let the Panthers get away in the first half, because you can chase down 12 points and I think you can chase down 14 points, but I think if you're getting to 18 points and above, I don't think this Broncos team will do that, even though they did it against the Raiders. But this Panthers team is much better defensively than the Canberra Raiders are. So the Panthers this year, they gave up 469 points compared to the Raiders at 506. Now, if we're going to go through the stats of both these teams here, the Broncos have scored 680 points this season, whilst the Panthers have scored 576 points this season. So that is a 104-point advantage to the Broncos across the season. But in a moment, we're going to go through round 20 onwards. So for the entirety of the season, the Broncos are a better attacking team by 104 points. And that is very clear. The Broncos were the second best attack this year, just behind the Redcliffe Dolphins, who are on 721, but the Dolphins' defense was absolutely disgustingly sickening to watch. It was sickening to watch this year in regards to the Dolphins' defense, but their attack was also sickening to watch in such a good way. It was exciting, but the Broncos were the second best attacking team of the competition, whilst the Panthers at 576 were behind the Raiders, the Storm, the Broncos, the Roosters, the Dolphins, and that's it. So the Panthers were the second best attacking team of the Panthers were the hold on, what was that? How many was that? Raiders, Storm, Broncos, Raiders, Storm, Broncos. They were also behind the Sharks, so that's 4, the Roosters and the Dolphins. They were the 7th best attack across the season, whilst the Broncos were the second best. So 2nd versus 7th there. And then defensively, the Broncos gave up 508 points this year, and the Panthers 469. So the Panthers are a better defensive team, which is not a surprise, by 39 points. 39 points less for the Panthers across the season, and when I get to these round 20 onwards, it'll also make sense in regards to that. The Panthers being a very good defensive team is not a surprise. We've seen that's how they've won their premierships over the years. 414 for the Bulldogs, 459 there for the Melbourne Storm. That's the top 2 defenses in the league, and the Panthers were only 10 points behind the Storm, despite their really early season struggles. This Panthers team really has the ability to lock in and frustrate, as I was saying. So that's the 3rd best defense in the comp in the Panthers, whilst the Broncos at 508 were behind the Raiders, the Storm, the Bulldogs, the Sharks, the Warriors, the Panthers, and that is it. So they were the 7th best defense in the comp. So the Panthers being the 3rd best, the Broncos being the 7th best defensively, and then for attack, the Broncos were the 2nd best, but the Panthers were the 6th best. So very similar, but completely the opposite styles. And that's why this game should be quite exciting, because they are very opposite styles of the way they play their games. And you usually see in styles like this, a team like the Panthers would more than likely get over the top and frustrate the living shit. And that's why I really am leaning towards the Panthers today, despite the fact that Broncos have every ability to win this game. To really focus in on round 20 onwards, the Broncos have scored 267 points since round 20 onwards. To clarify, there's been 9 games here that the Broncos have played compared to the Panthers, who have played 10 games. That's because the Broncos got the week off last week. Broncos scored 267 points in those 9 games. The Panthers scored 274 points. So only 7 more points there for the Panthers, especially considering that there is 1 extra game there. It is showing the Broncos are better on the attack across 10 games, because I'm definitely banking in that the Broncos, if they play 1 more game there, they get more than 7. So I will lean with the Broncos in regards to the attack, which is not a surprise there, but it's actually not that separate. You know, if you give the Broncos 30 points or 24 points, let's go with a more realistic one of 24 points. We give the Broncos 24, they go to 277, 287, 291. That's still only 17 more points scored than the Panthers, right? Which is a decent amount, but it's still only 17 more points scored than the Panthers, who really aren't necessarily that attacking dynamic team that we have seen in recent years. So it's an interesting stat there. The Panthers are still quite close to the Broncos, despite the high energy, high octane football that the Broncos do play. And then you compare that to the defense here of 222 points conceded for the Broncos in that last 9 games, whilst the Panthers have given up 184, right? So they have conceded a lot less with 1 extra game. 184 to 222 is, 38. So 38 less points the Panthers have conceded since round 20. 38 less, and that's with an extra game. So let's assume the Broncos, they give up a respectable margin of 12, and that's been quite generous to them in a lot of ways, because their average conceded is 24.7. If we give them the average of 24.7 across those 9 games defensively, then they go from 222 to 242 to 246. So that's 184 to 246 with that extra game that we give the Broncos there based off of their average conceded. So the Panthers are quite significantly in front here defensively, and they're not too far off attacking-wise since round 20. Plus 45 there for the Broncos, plus 90 for the Panthers since round 20. Average scored per game for the Broncos those 9 games is 29.7, the Panthers 27.4 in 10 games, whilst the Broncos average conceded is 24.7 in 9 games, and then 18.4 in 10 games for the Panthers. Right now, it really is just, I'm feeling the Panthers might be able to get over the line here if they are able to get off to that hot start that we know they can do, and if they are able to defend the lead, which the Broncos will have every opportunity to chase down. But that Panthers team, they just know how to frustrate you in the right moments. They just know how to get you in the crunch of it all, in the clutch, and they've got the experience to win these kind of games. So I am going to take Panthers 1-12 here, but I do think it's going to be an extremely close game. And the best thing for the competition is the Broncos to win. The best thing for the competition is to watch the Broncos win, so we get a different grand final. It's a rematch of 2006 grand final in the Broncos and Storm, and it'll be very interesting how that matchup does play out. If it's Panthers versus Storm, I got to respect it because it's still the best 2 teams in the competition. You've got to respect the success of it all. However, it wouldn't be as exciting as potentially seeing a new team win in the Broncos, or even though the Storm have won quite considerably throughout their history, it still would be a lot more exciting to have that kind of 50-50 there, where it's just an enjoyable game to watch without a team that has won 4 straight premierships in a row. Right? That's no disrespect there to the Panthers. I just think that the best thing for the game is to be able to watch something fresh, something new. This would be the exact same grand finals last year if the Panthers were able to get up today, which unfortunately I am tipping. I am tipping the Panthers 1-12, but, it's going to be very interesting, and I think it's time we get into the chat and see what you are saying. There's 30 minutes to go. So that was a good old 35 minutes of preview there. Hope you guys did enjoy that. 30 minutes to go until the game starts. This is the preliminary final. Whoever wins in the grand final against the Storm next Sunday will be live for all 3 games, which is the Host Plus Cup versus New South Wales Cup. And then we'll also have, by the way, Burleigh Bears won yesterday, so they're the Broncos feeder club, mind you. But that's on. We'll stream that. We'll also stream the women's game, which is the Sydney Roosters, who got through just over the Sharks yesterday, 17-16. The Broncos got a very big win against the Knights just before, I believe, the last time I saw it. So that'll be Roosters versus the Broncos. So the Broncos actually will have 3. If the Broncos win this game, they'll have 3 teams next week. 3 teams in the grand final next week. which is huge. That's huge to see. And then we'll have the grand final between either the Broncos and Penrith or the Storm versus the Storm. Broncos or Penrith versus the Storm. Dally M night on Wednesday night will be live for the entire thing, talking about what's going on and giving you guys the updates of what's happening. Really looking forward to that one. But like I said, thumbs up, subscribe, get into the chat, let us know you're thinking. Don't forget to go subscribe to BKRtravel. We're about 1,500 subscribers now. We're getting a lot more consistent on that channel. So go and subscribe in the pinned comment to BKRtravel. I appreciate you. Now let's get into the chat. And I'm sure I'm going to be well behind this chat. I'm going to be so far behind this chat, it's going to be disgusting. It's going to be disgusting how far behind in this chat I am. I'm going to have to scroll back for about 3 years to get back to the early comments, that's for sure. That's for sure. All right, let's move this bad boy across. Now let's scroll it up. Dearie me. Yep, I have to scroll back to last year. Yep. Olivia Reed with the $8 donation. Our local Broncos fan in the chat. Get around Olivia says, up the Broncos. I'll be sending an email if we lose. Yeah, well, Oh, boy. The old email. We love that, don't we, Olivia? But thank you very much for your donation, Olivia. Good luck today. Hopefully it's just a great game, and even if they lose, they still give it a red-hot crack and make your fans proud. Monkey Muay Thai says 26-20, the Panthers win. My prediction. Oh, a score prediction here is quite interesting. I don't really know how to give a score prediction, but I would be looking towards, potentially like a 22-18 or a 24-20 kind of deal, or a 26-24. No, I will say, I can see some points being scored here today for sure, but it just comes down to how much the Panthers lead by at the first half. If the Panthers don't lead at half time, gee whiz, I don't know if they win. I think the Panthers need to be leading at half-time here. I really do. If they're not leading by half-time, I think the Broncos are going to be too strong in the second half, considering we know this Panthers team does slow down quite considerably, even in close games, even in games, against the Storm and the Raiders. They do slow down quite considerably in the second half, start making a lot of mistakes. Dylan Edwards has been making a lot of mistakes in that back half of the season. He's been really crucial in regards to making mistakes in really big times and big moments in the game. So we need him to limit that in the second half. But I will go out on a limb here and say if the Broncos do lead at halftime, I do have them winning this game. I do. I have them winning this game and going through to the grand final. But I feel like if they're down by any less than 12 or under, the Broncos are still well and truly in the game. If it's like 18, 16, 18 points, I don't think, I would even go as far to say 14. If it's over 3 scores, I don't think the Panthers give it up, but the Broncos do have that real red-hot energy in the second half that they come home strong. User 1 says, what time does the game start for New Zealand time? Well, the game starts in literally 30 minutes time from now at 1:05 p.m. my time, so that's 4:05 p.m. Australian time, Eastern Standard Time, and then that would be, you're 2 hours ahead? So that'd be 6:05 p.m. New Zealand time, I believe. Exposing the Truth says, nah. Hey, goodbye Panthers. Gee whiz, that's ballsy to say right this very second, especially since the last time these two teams played was a 32-8 win there to the Panthers. Now, that is a very different time in this season. Very different time in this season, but when the Panthers have played the Broncos this year, it was 32-8 to the Panthers in round 9, and I don't think they played again for the rest of the season, did they? They did not. It was 32-8 to the Panthers in round 9 earlier this year. So, I think the Broncos have only won one time in their last 10 against the Panthers. It's going to be very interesting to see if they can break a few hoodoos here today, Brisbane, but they are at home with all the ability to do it. Tyrese says the dynasty ends today. Well, good luck. Emery says, come on Broncos, send these idiots home. Gee whiz. Strength and Honest says, I hope the Panthers lose. The Broncos can't do it today. They should at least target Cleary today so he's unfit for next week. I don't think the Broncos are going to give an absolute shit about that grand final if they don't win this game. Who gives a shit from the Broncos' perspective? If they win this game, then they don't think about Cleary next week. They're taking on Munster, Jerome Hughes, Puppenhausen, Little Mum and Puppy, and then Harry Grant. That's who they're focused on. They couldn't give a shit. And if they lose this game, then, truly, the Broncos won't give a shit. So I know that's a fan service kind of attitude there, but ultimately the Broncos won't care less. Jack says, how you going, Blaze? I'm going good, mate. Going good. Beautiful over here in Vietnam. Who's Panthers are getting a lot of hate. Yeah, well, of course, when you're successful, mate, you're going to see a lot more hate because people want to see. Panthers used to be loved in the early 2020s because they were fresh on the scene. They were fresh meat and they were really, exploding out of nowhere, which gives you belief and faith that your team, whether it be the Titans or whether it be the Knights, or whether it be the Tigers, or these teams down the lower end of the table, it gives you belief that no matter where you are, if you put the right processes on the table, you do have the chance to go and win the premiership and dominate like the Panthers have. But the issue is they have dominated. So they were a nice little prospect for a couple of years where people were like, okay, shit, yeah, no Storm, no Roosters. And now the Panthers have joined that Storm and the Roosters brigade where people don't want to see them because they've won so much. And it's more about people will hate on success. But I don't think that people are actually hating on success. I feel like people internally just want to see difference, right? And they just want to see, obviously, their team get up, and they just want to see another team get there. And we have seen the Panthers in the grand final for the last 5 years straight. 2020 when they lost the Storm, 2021 when they beat the Rabbitohs, 2022 when they beat the Eels, 2023 when they beat the Broncos, and then 2024 when they beat the Storm. There's no difference there. And you just need to see that fresh product. And that's why, whilst I may not be the biggest fan of the Brisbane Broncos, the fact is that I want the betterment for the game. And when you create content like I do, and you create content for every single team, we're live for every single game here on the channel. When you create this much content, you lose a lot of the hate that you have for teams. You still have the passion, the love for your team, but you lose a lot of the hate for other teams because you're always having to create content with them. And Broncos fans are always going to say, oh, you just really hate the Broncos. I used to. I don't as much anymore, and I would actually prefer to see them, ultimately for the betterment of the game, win this game and go through the grand final. Not because I hate the Panthers, because I feel like that would create that fresh vibe. Right, but it'll be, I feel like the reason why people are getting behind Brisbane today is not because they like Brisbane, and it's not necessarily because they hate the Panthers. It's because they're so desperate to not see the exact same grand final as last year, and a very similar grand final to the last 5-6 years, right? So that's the biggest thing. Joe says, much better. James says, go to the Broncos. Monkey Muay Thai is missing Carrigan and Walters will be huge for the Bronx. Yeah, for sure. Carrigan's a big loss. I think Walters is an immense loss. But it also helps them out in regards to positioning of their team, because if Billy Walters was healthy, then one of either Adam Reynolds or Ezra Mam is missing. Truly, if you're going to put him into the team, or Corey Pakes, but I don't think that Billy Walters is a great 9. I think he was a great 6, but I don't think he's a great 9. And he's a great 14. So great 14 or 6. So if he's in the 6, well, then that means that Ben Hunt's probably going to the 9 because you're having Adam Reynolds into the 7. Or are you keeping Ben Hunt in the 7, Billy Walters 6, and then having somebody else in the 9, Corey Pakes, or then deciding between Adam Reynolds or Ezra Mam for that 14, then one of them gets dropped. It actually has worked out a little bit in their benefit. They haven't had to make that decision, but I do feel sorry for Billy Walters, who has been really good in this back end. Royal Grand Majesty says, reckon this will be a high-scoring game. It has the mixture of both, man. It really can be a Panthers domination here in a lot of ways. I do not think the Broncos will blow this Panthers team apart, but it would be really cool to see that too, because it would just be such a shock, and then the Storm will get scared shitless, but next week could be quite literally anything. This Panthers team defensively is very resilient and very experienced, while this Broncos team is heavily reliant on the play being made. And the reason I say the play being made, while that may sound obvious, if the play doesn't get made, then they get frustrated, and then they start making ridiculous plays, and they try to start scoring on every single play, and then it ultimately becomes their detractor to their game. And the Panthers, they are the perfect team to exploit the living shit out of that. Like, if a team's getting frustrated, i.e. the Broncos, the Panthers are very much the team. They'll be well up and truly in their face. They'll be forcing those errors out of Reece Walsh. They're not going to be giving the same kind of space that other teams have had. So it's going to be, for mine, probably situated around that 24-20 game or 22-18 kind of game, maybe even a 19-18, 20-18 kind of deal. Ultimately, it should be a very close game, and we could see a lot of points scored. If it is a low scorer like a 14-12 or a 12-10 or a 16-12, I'm probably leaning with the I would be leaning with the Panthers in a lot of ways. If it is like 30-26, then you'd probably be saying if the Broncos can score over 20 points here, then you probably say they win the game, because it means that they can score, and if they can score, then they're going to score quite a few. That's how the Broncos play. So if you believe the Broncos can score, we'll go 24 points or above, then the Broncos probably win this. But if you don't think the Broncos get to 24 points, I think the Panthers win. Does that make sense? Vasmus says, I'm going to crash out if the Panthers win this game. Well, You know, don't be surprised. Normal Peace Loving says, is this live or not? Yeah, no, I'm live, mate. I do exist. Yeah, no, I'm not AI. No, we are not AI here. Oh, there's a donation here. Scotty James with a $10 donation, paying my tab for the Storm making the grand final. Just need Bills to win the division. I'll pay the rest if that's okay. Jesus Christ is King. Jesus Christ is King, mate. Absolutely love that. God bless you, Scotty James, for the donation. God bless you overall, and good luck with the Bills winning the division, which you would expect would come off, to be completely honest with you. Extreme Zone says, Blaze was saying the Storm are the most hated team, but the last few years it seems like the Panthers have taken the crown for being the most hated team in the comp. Blaze was saying the Storm are the most hated team, but the last few years it seems like the Panthers have taken the crown for the most hated team in the comp. I think that the Storm... Like, it used to be Manly, but the younger generation don't give a shit about Manly anymore. The older generation still hate Manly. It's really tough, actually, who the most hated team in the comp is nowadays. It probably is the Panthers. It probably is the Panthers. You know, but the Bulldogs are well and truly up there in regards to a lot of their fan base. The Broncos, because they're Queensland and a large amount of everyone in New South Wales obviously hates them. The Storm, because of their success, and also because people remember what happened in the late 2000s. Storm fans, I love this. I love this propaganda that you've been spilling over these last couple of years, like trying to make people forget or to not care about what happened in the 2000s. Fuck yourself. Like, we're still going to remember what happened in the 2000s when you cheated the salary cap, but that doesn't also take away from what you're doing now, and it doesn't take away from the club as a whole, but that did happen. So please, with the propaganda of saying, like, oh, we should still be able to celebrate those premierships. No, that's just not where... We're always going to remember that period, right? The propaganda isn't going to be selling. So the Storm is always going to be there. The Panthers are definitely up there, but that's more so due to success, and also the fans have been well and truly into other fan bases and whatnot over the last years. You know, the Raiders fans hate them because of the clap and all that kind of stuff, and now the Sharks did that last week. Manly will have the older generation, not the younger generation. The Broncos will have the hate from New South Wales, and also from local teams like the Dolphins and the Titans as well, and the Cowboys. But the Cowboys-Broncos is a bit more respect rivalry based off of a long-term origin partnership too, prior to the Dolphins and the Titans coming into the competition. So very different there. But yeah, look, the Panthers are ultimately hated due to their success in a lot of ways. Showtime says they hate them because they ain't them. Exactly right. You know, exactly right. Let's scroll down here. Yeah, Rugby for Life, please stop spamming. There's going to be a lot of people in this chat today, man, so I need to try and see what people are saying. Lockie's Rugby League, this game could go either way, absolutely. If you think it's a high-scoring game, you're probably leaning with the Broncos. If you think it's a low-scoring game or a mid-tier scoring game, then you're probably leaning with the Panthers. Aussie Mozzie says, too many points, want the ball. Too many people want the ball with Ezra and Reynolds on the team. I agree with that, Aussie Mozzie, and that's a big reason as to why Reece can't be the same player that we've seen him recently. When there hasn't been Adam Reynolds and Ezra Mam. So yeah, you know, there is a bit too much X factor in a lot of ways and that spine didn't really work out for mine. I don't think the Ben Hunt 9, Adam Reynolds 7, Ezra Mam 6 and Reece Walsh spine was working out by any stretch of the imagination. But then when they're tinkering with it because they've had to tinker with it, you know, they've got Ben Hunt in the 6 and they've got Corey Pakes in the 9, Adam Reynolds in the 7 and Reece Walsh here in the fullback with Ezra Mam as the 14. I think that also does show a lot of lack of belief in maybe the coming back from injury for Ezra Mam there. But let's see if this works out here with this different spine, because I think that the spine was clearly working with Reece Walsh, Billy Walters, Ben Hunt and Corey Pakes, and now that's obviously had to be changed. So the original partnership of Reece Walsh, Ezra Mam, Adam Reynolds and Ben Hunt is available, but they've gone against that to keep Corey Pakes in the 9. Adam Reynolds put back into the 7. Ben Hunt actually pushed from the 9 to the 7, now to the 6, and then Reece Walsh the fullback. So a lot of changes being made there. And you don't really want changes when it comes to the finals at this point of the year. Knowledge his best first half team, best second half team will be interesting. Absolutely. NRL Center says, Blaze, who do you want to win today? Well, I said it before. Ultimately, I would prefer to see a fresh competition with the Broncos making the grand final, but I don't necessarily believe that'll be the case, and I think the Panthers will win this game. Willie says, when things get frustrating, Reece headbutts people. Yeah, that is a valid point. That is a valid point. Not that he'll get suspended for it. Pain the Butts says Panthers 26-18. Willie says, I was thinking Broncos, but how good is the story coming from last to win the grand final? That's good motivation. If you respect sport and you respect the game, you respect the competition and you respect success and the development of it, then you want to see, then you don't care who wins this game, but if the Panthers win, you respect it. And I will respect it. If the Panthers win this game, you have to respect what they're doing. Not only have they won 4 premierships in a row, not only have they made 5 grand finals in a row, but if they win this game, they have the chance to be the first team outside of the top 4 to win the competition in the NRL. They have the chance to go and win 5 straight premierships in the modern era. The only team, and probably the only team that will ever do that realistically. And then not only that, but they would have come from 17th in round 12 to win the competition. You know, it's spectacular. It's immense. It's amazing. You have to have that respect. The banter can be there. The sludging can be there. We can shit talk all we like. I can tell the Broncos fans to eat a dick all I like. But at the end of the day, the Broncos win the comp. I respect that too, because they are the best team to win the comp. You know, whoever wins the comp, I respect it. As long as it's not like a, you know, blown call like what we saw in the 2019 grand final. But ultimately, I did think the Roosters were the better team in that game for the most part, and I still respect it. It's just unfortunate that that grand final was ruined because of a bad call in regards to the 6 again and whatnot. Yeah, so I hate to see stuff like that. And you hate to see, you know, what can transpire. Like 2013 grand final, there was a couple of controversies with Roosters and Manly, but ultimately whoever wins, they deserve it, in my opinion. Ryder Thompson says 50-50. I think it's 50. Yeah, it is 50-50. Yeah, I'll go with you. I agree with you. Mike Carr says, let's go to Panther. Informant says, think the Broncos can play the slow grind and wear you down play style the Panthers are well known for? Not really. Do you think the Broncos should just go all out, balls to the wall, and throw everything at them? Again, the Broncos are not good first half and a very good second half. Not great first half, best second half team of the comp. The Panthers, the best first half team of the comp, not a great second half. It'll be interesting to see if one of those two teams tries to adjust it, which is kind of what you're assuming here or insinuating with the Broncos being better in the first half. I think if the Broncos lead in the first half, they win, but then if they change their mindset, they change the way they play, that's playing into the Panther style. You don't want to do that. You want to come in and play the way that you've been playing. You've really just got to focus on what's got you to this point. Don't change something that's not broken. If you're a better second half team, then focus on the second half team. If you're a better first half team, then focus on the first half, and then just, you know, the advantage there is with the best first half team in the comp. The advantage will always go to the best first half team on the basis that means that you can go into defensive mode and you have to force them to chase, but the Broncos are willing to chase. So can the Broncos play a grind? I don't think so. I think the Panthers are well and truly more of the grind team. If the game goes into the grind, the Broncos won't want that. They want it to be free-flowing. They want it to be spruiked up. Yeah, they want it to be energy, just moving that ball around fast, really shoving it down that Panthers' throat, which is what we saw in the Raiders versus the Broncos game. And the Raiders, they bit into how the Broncos were playing. Raiders and Broncos, the Raiders went into that game with the ability to win it. They had the ability to win it, but they also played a lot of what the Broncos do, and that's why the Broncos ended up winning that game. Dom says, actually want a Broncos win today. Ben says, Edwards hasn't been the same since he made that knock-on at the end of Game 2. His fingers have stayed buttery from then on. I agree with that. Also, appreciate you, Ben, for getting involved over on BKRtravel, mate. I did screenshot your comments, so we'll put that into a video over on BKRtravel at some point. KCIN says, who going to win? Well, I've got the Panthers 1 of 12, but it is a 50-50 in a lot of ways. Get around your lorry. Toons Wild Games is how long till kickoff? There is 15 minutes to go until kickoff, so plenty of time for everyone to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new around here. Plenty of time until this game kicks off and we see who will be in the grand final for 2025. Ben says, I really do feel sorry for Canberra, though. They suffered a similar fate to the Crows. I don't feel sorry for them. At the end of the day, they earned their spot of first position. They lost the first game in excruciating fashion, but with that being said, the winner of that game deserved it. And then the Raiders, they fell apart in the second game against the Sharks. And I did say this weeks ago, if the Raiders had have beaten the Broncos, this is post-Broncos game, if the Raiders had have beaten the Broncos, I actually would have had the Raiders to win the comp. I would have had them to win the comp still, because they would have gotten that extra week off. Obviously, last week did show against the Sharks. They needed that extra week off. They were exhausted, and that's why the second half was a blowout for the Sharks in a lot of ways. And the Sharks looked as poor as they did against the Storm. I think if the Raiders win that game against the Bronx, they get the week off. They then play at home to... they play at home to... Who they play at home to? It would have been... Who would they have played at home to? The Raiders would have gotten through, and then they would have played at home. Oh, they would play... I don't know why I'm even questioning this right now, because the Panthers are already... And the Broncos would have gone to the other side of the draw, and the Broncos would have ended up playing the Storm. I don't know why I'm questioning it, because they're literally right here. The Raiders would have played the Panthers, and I do think the Raiders could have got up in that game, and then the grand final would have been interesting, to be fair. But I just feel like I would have had a real sense of belief about Canberra if they had got that week off, but clearly it wasn't to be, and the Broncos were too good for them. Get around to you, Xavier Rigotti, for becoming a member. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for joining up, mate, and supporting the channel. Really appreciate that. Ibrahim says, Ivan Cleary and Craig Bellamy are so good, they've made the NRL boring in a way. Yeah, but this always is the case, mate. You know, when the Panthers weren't around, people were complaining about the Storm and the Roosters. You know, back in the 2000s and the 1990s, you know, a lot of people were complaining about the Broncos and the Storm. The Storm are the consistency here. I feel like people would even take the Roosters nowadays over a team like the Panthers or Storm, even though they won 2 premierships in 2018 and 2019. There's not really been another team that's dominated enough in the NRL era besides this now Panthers team, Roosters and Storm. But the Broncos back in the 90s and 2000, I'm sure people were complaining about the Dragons and hating on them in the 1960s and all that kind of jazz. It's just a part of the game, mate. It really is. Ben says, doesn't it seem a little weird that this prelim is being played on a Sunday? Because normally the prelims are played on Friday and Saturday, right? Correct. But they have decided to mix it up this year, and Sundays is huge in regards to viewership for the NRL that we've found. So they're just trying something out, and I like it. I do like it. But Nathan Cleary has won like 26 straight games in a row in the day. Broncos are actually quite infamous for not playing well at Suncorp in day games on Sunday or even Saturday. But they don't get that Saturday game too much. Actually, I don't think they ever play a Saturday game during the day at Suncorp. But they're quite infamous for this time slot here at Suncorp Stadium in the day actually losing, which is how the Titans have beaten them a couple of times in recent years in the day on Sunday at Suncorp. So it'll be interesting to see if the Broncos can get over that too. But I do like the decision for the NRL to mix it up a little bit and see how it does transgress. Chocky says the Storm will play the Panthers next Sunday. Thank you, Chockies. Thank you, Chockies, mate. We'll see. Oh, this screen's going a bit slow right now. I'm going to refresh this chat for mine, and then we're going to get to the start of the chat. Just hopefully it refreshes at some point, and then we are good to go in 10 minutes' time, guys. 10 minutes' time, and the game will be underway. I'm going to have a quick drink here. Have a quick little drink, and it's taking ages for this chat to refresh. Okay, we're back underway. Yeah, beautiful. All right, live again. Beautiful. All right, let's scroll a little bit further back up. Steve says, if this goes to extra time, then Panthers please kick it to Ben. Dearie me. Let's go Pokemon says, Panthers will win. Don't worry about that. Well, we'll see, mate. We will see. The Red Knights, what are your thoughts on McLean going over for a try? The same as yours, mate. There's every opportunity. There's every possibility. But I will say the Broncos are, for mine, one of the best. I think these two teams are the best two teams in regards to defending their line inside their own 20. The Broncos have done a lot of that this year. Even when they weren't playing too well, they were still very good at holding their own defensive line inside their own defensive 20. So I do expect the Broncos to potentially give up some long-range tries here today if they are giving up a whole bunch of tries. And I feel like the Panthers can absolutely do that and love that one. It's just like last week with the Bulldogs. Most of their tries were coming off the back of long ones with Jacob Preston breaking through from a hole from Lachlan Galvin setup, which was outside of the 20. This Panthers team doesn't give up a lot of tries inside their own 20. This Broncos team doesn't give up a lot of tries in their own 20, in my opinion, either. And for the most part, are a real defensive, stout collective. So that's a really interesting part here. Whoever gets into the attack in 20 here today from both these teams will find it quite difficult to break them down. Ben says, Walters being injured at the worst time of the season is unfortunate. He's been the biggest improvement for the Broncos this season. I agree. James Stevens says, hopefully you've tipped the Panthers. Bronx Nation. Good on you, James. Jason says, I got a multi on Alamonte, Walsh, Katapani, and To'o to score one, so hope it's a moderate scoring game. It's a lot of score, but in a game like this, you could see it. Alamonte, Walsh, Katapani, and To'o is not a bad multi at all, mate. We'll see how that one happens. Mali says, if Adam Reynolds plays today, Broncos going to lose, definitely. Well, Adam Reynolds is their 7, so look, I don't necessarily disagree a lot with you. I actually said a pretty ballsy call. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, it is BKR Sport. I speak about every game afterwards quite in depth that you haven't already listened to on here, to be fair, but go and follow us on BKR Sport on Instagram. But I did speak about this when the news. I didn't know Billy Walters was out at the time, but Billy Walters. I actually said on my Instagram that I could see them still going with Billy Walters and Ben Hunt in that 6 and 7. I could have seen it. I could have seen it well, but they did it. But then Adam Reynolds for mine. If he doesn't play that 7, I think he's 18th man. I think that if you've got all the options there and you do decide with the Billy Walters and Ben Hunt combo in the halves, then I don't think Adam Reynolds is a 14. I think Ezra Mam is a 14 there, unless they had have gone to Billy Walters in the 6 or push Billy Walters to the 9, and the halves are an interesting one there with Ezra Mam or or Ben Hunt, but I don't think they would have done that. So I did say that there is a pretty ballsy call that you could potentially be looking at Adam Reynolds as the 18th man there, but they obviously haven't done that today, especially with Billy Walters being injured. Ben says, praise Jesus, amen. Absolutely. Paint does things. Says, I want Cobbo back. He didn't deserve to go out, but go Broncos. Well, good luck. Mason says, the Sharks should have their title stripped as well. They broke the salary cap in 2016, but only got a fine. What was the severity of it? Genuine question. I do know that pretty much every team does it, to be completely honest with you. We all know, especially the Roosters and whatnot over the years. But that's not the point. The point is that was found on a significant level, and then if other teams got caught out on a significant level, then we would have to talk about them too. I think the Sharks more of a concern 2016-wise, Mason, would be the benefit of the peptides a couple of years before that. Which lent into them being kind of prime-timed, but it's a conversation for another day. A6 Angle says, what's good, Blaze? How's your day going? Ready for a big game here, mate. Sando says, as much as I hate it, we are all Broncos fans today. Well, there's a bit of a mix. I'm not really a fan of anyone here today. I just want a good game. I really want a good game because I can see the positives to both sides. I can see the positives to both sides. Steve says, I'm never a Bronco fan of any game. Daddy says, has Reece Walsh ever played in a team that beat Penrith? I don't think so. I think that Reece Walsh has lost with the Warriors and also for the Broncos. I don't think that Reece Walsh has actually ever beaten Penrith. I think I saw a stat about that this week. I think I did. Vomp says, what's the likelihood of this going into overtime? Pretty significant. There's a really good chance of this going into extra time. Yeah, overtime is a very American terminology. Extra time is what we use here in Australia. And it is extra time in finals. For people who don't know, as you would have seen the Raiders versus the Broncos first week of the finals, it is extra time where the first 10 minutes, well, there wasn't a score in that first 10 minutes, but the first 10 minutes is extra time. And then after that, if there's still no score or if it's still tied, then it goes into golden point from that. The regular season, it's a golden point immediately and then ends after 10 minutes for a draw. In the finals, it is extra time for 2 halves of 5 minutes, and then if they're still tied at the end of that 10 minutes, even if there's a score, if it's still tied at, say it goes into extra time at 26-26, then the Broncos score to make it 30-26 in that first 5 minutes, the first half, the Panthers still have a chance over the next, say, 6 minutes, the next 5 minutes to score. And if they score to make it 30-30, then we just go until somebody scores from the 90th minute onwards. So it's very different to the regular season. People get confused by this, but it is extra time until the 90th and then golden point afterwards. Sespi says, if Ashley Klein has ref this game, Broncos going to win. Well, we all know that Ashley Klein is clearly not the referee because he was the referee on Friday night. Grant Atkins is the referee here, and there is pretty strong words that... rumours that Ashley Klein won't be getting that grand final, but then again, Buzz Rothfield is Buzz Rothfield, so do we trust as much as that? Sean says, if the ref stays out of it, it should be a good game. Absolutely. Sundo says, well, 2 Roosters grand finals caught some strays out of nowhere. Well, yeah, fair call, actually, Sundo. I didn't even recognise that. Steve says, let's go. Ben says, sure thing. Jay still needs to do his job. Jay does need to do his job, mate. He does forget the scoreboard all the time. 5 minutes to go until kickoff, guys. Thumbs up, subscribe, keep slapping it in. Keep supporting the channel, and don't forget to go subscribe to our second channel, BKRtravel, where we've been posting content about our travels. And if you've got any question about where I've been this year, whether it be America, Fiji, Australia, India, Thailand, Vietnam, Hong Kong, Malaysia, wherever it may be, jump over there and check out that content in the pinned comment. And for Papua New Guinea fans out there who do want to get around it, well, there's a potential I might be heading to Papua New Guinea next year. We will see how it goes. Scott James says, I know as a Titans fan, I don't want the Broncos to win, but as a Queensland fan, I want Ben Hunt to win it. Well, as a Queensland fan, then you'd be looking at Reece Walsh too, you'd be looking at Ben Hunt, but then again, as a Queensland fan, you wouldn't want Payne Haas to win it, or you wouldn't want Adam Reynolds to win it, so it's a bit of a mixed bag there. I think that as a Titans fan, yeah, of course we don't want the Broncos to win it, but as a general NRL fan, it's better for the game. It is better for the game. Mark Whelan says, I think the Broncos need it fast-paced, absolutely, and hectic. The more structured the game, the better the chance the Panthers have. Yep, I think the Panthers are 60, Broncos 40. I'll go 55-45 on the... this first half will dictate how that second half plays out in a lot of ways. It's an obvious thing to say, but if the Panthers don't lead at half-time, the Broncos are very strong in the second half. If the Panthers do lead at half-time, well, how much are they leading by? But the second half, the Broncos are very strong. I don't know if the Panthers come back like they did in 2023 if they're behind, but then have the Broncos put everything into the tank for the first half to obliterate what they're known for so that they can try and hold it down in the second half where their defense in the defensive 20 is very good. There's a lot of ways this can play out. So this first half will give you a really good read. And if it's tied at half-time, you've got to probably lean with the Bronx. If it's tied at halftime or the Broncos are leading at halftime, you've probably got to lean with the Bronx. It just depends on how much energy they've put into that first half to change how they've been in first halves recently. They're all getting ready to come out to the field. Monkey Boy Ty says, would you back the Broncos with Carrigan and Walters, or would it be the same result? I don't think that at this point, I don't think there would have been too much of a change. I probably would have still gone with the exact same stats and talked about the exact same things. I would have said the Broncos with Billy Walters, but it depends on where the Billy Walters plays. You know, are you saying that he's playing but he's in the 9, or are you saying he's playing but he's in the 6, or are you saying he's playing but he's in the 14? Like, where are you putting Billy Walters there? It's not as easy as it has been for recent weeks in regards to who they're forced to select that has worked out for them. You know, so Carrigan would have been a big inclusion, but I still don't know if I would have ultimately tipped the Broncos over the Panthers, but that taking out Tyson Smoothie and putting in Carrigan is a big switch up there. Brenton says it would be crazy if Madge can take the Broncos to the finals in the first year of coaching them. Well, you'd actually have to put him in the conversation for one of the most underrated coaches of all time, and you'd actually say that his Tigers days, actually you'd nearly put him in the conversation for one of the best coaches of all time, and I think that's a bold call to make on the basis that he won a premiership with the Rabbitohs, went to the Tigers. The Tigers haven't made the finals since before him, haven't made the finals after him, have won spoons after him as well. It clearly wasn't Michael Maguire at the West Tigers. At this point, we know it wasn't Michael Maguire at the Tigers. So then Michael Maguire has gone to New Zealand, proceeded to beat Australia 30-0 in the Pacific Cup final and win that trophy. And then left and went to New South Wales and then proceeded to win Origin for New South Wales and then proceeded to leave that as well. So he's gone from winning a Rabbitohs premiership to being at a lowly franchise with the Tigers to then going to New Zealand and winning immediately, going to New South Wales and winning immediately, and then if you come to the Broncos, his first year here, and wins the premiership, he goes on to win a premiership immediately with the Broncos too. So he should be actually classed in one of the best coaches of all time on that metric. But I wonder if people will do that. I'm not too sure. Panthers are running out here to the field. Woo-hoo-hoo! Here we go, guys. Here we go. Give us your predictions in the chat. Give us your score predictions in the chat. I'm going to do Jay's job for him and refresh that. And hopefully that goes live immediately, son. Hopefully the score goes live when it does. Brenton said, that's right. Xavier, up the Broncos. Golden Point, a shock injury for sure. A shock injury? Please, no. Touch wood, that doesn't happen. We want to see the best players out in the field. Mike K says, is he going to show the game when it starts? It's literally on Channel 9, this game, Sunday says. Yep. Ian says, I swear... You said if it was a Panther Storm final, you'd stop watching the sport halfway through the season. I'd love to find the clip. I probably did, Ian, to be fair. I probably did. I'm not going to stop watching the sport, and I probably said something stupid there, but I probably did. I wouldn't deny it. Especially with the fact that at the time the Panthers were in like last place or whatever. I wouldn't doubt that I've said that. Who's Who says he's had a huge flat screen TV in the back. A huge flat screen TV in the back? What? Are you talking behind me? I don't know what you're talking about. Penrith by 20, Bad Daddy says. Right. Penrith by 20, big call. Mark Williams says, Madge is a gun, getting the Broncos back up and strong. Agree, but also Kevin Walters got them to the grand final in 2023. One bad year last year clearly doesn't dictate it. Ultimately, this Broncos team has been there or thereabouts the last couple of years. It's just I don't know if they were able to recover from losing to the Panthers in 2023. But all right, guys, hit that like button. Subscribe if you are new around here. The preliminary final is getting underway right now. Grant Atkins getting ready to blow the whistle. And I think it's the Panthers kicking off to the Broncos here. Who is it? It is, the Broncos kicking off to the Panthers to start off with you. Sander says, I'm like 30 seconds behind on 9 now. Got rid of KO last week, not worth it in the off-season. Well, cricket's coming up too with the Ashes, and that's where it'll be on. But Panthers received the ball, and Lindsay Smith is going to bring his ball up here to the 10. Again, whoever wins this game, guys, will play the Melbourne Storm next Sunday in the grand final at Accor Stadium. Second tackle here for the Panthers, and they'll be at the 13. Mike says, who do you think going to win? Well, I tipped the Panthers 1-12 here. It's going to be an interesting one. Plenty of opportunity here for both these teams. And the Broncos obviously have the advantage by being at home. But, it's going to be very interesting to see how this one plays out. The first half will tell you everything you need to know. So 4 tackle here with the Panthers. And they're not making a great deal of meters right now. They're only at the 20 on 4 tackle. Buck says Broncos by reffing Rort. Stop it. Please don't put that into the open air. Please don't put that out there into the world for us to see a controversial game. We just want to see a good game here. Nathan Cleary. Hopefully Grant Atkins stays out of it. I've got more confidence in Grant Atkins staying out of it than I do with Ashley Klein staying out of it. Walsh letting the ball bounce there. Not great. And Reese will bring this ball back here to the 20. It's a good run back, but then he gets pushed all the way back to the 15. Good work there by the Panthers. I don't know why Reece Walsh allowed that ball to just bounce so casually back to around the 10. But it is what it is. The Broncos now will be taken down at the 18 on second tackle. So SB says, only way Broncos can win is if they turn it into a chaotic game. I agree. True, for sure. I just don't know if the Panthers are going to allow it to get into that chaotic game. Fourth tackle, Reece Walsh here at the 40. He gives it off to Corey Pakes, then to Dean Mariner. And Dean Mariner is going to be at the 50. And it's going to be fit tackle. Oh, no. Who's down? Scotty Sorensen. Sorry, not Dane Sorensen. Scotty Sorensen. Jeez, he doesn't know where he is. He's going to have to come up for a HIA here. Yeah, Blaze Talungi there on the hit. Oh, it's just an accidental head clash between the two Panthers players of Blaze Talungi and Scott Sorensen. And he's going to have to come off with a HIA here. He's going to have to come off with a HIA. He's hit his own player. But Scott Sorensen will have to come off, and they're going to have to chuck his eye properly into the back row, which isn't a surprise at all. So they're not making a huge loss there, but still, this is a big loss here if he does go out for the game. Or maybe it's a broken draw, which God bless, hope he's all right. Touch wood that it's not the way, but he will come up for a HIA. And Luke Garner's actually coming on here, not Isaiah Papali'i. They're putting Luke Garner onto the game. Well, hey, that's huge. Please, Adam G, ref the grand final. Well, Adam G hasn't been given a preliminary final, so I highly doubt it. It's between Ashley Klein and Grant Atkins, and it'll depend on this game for Grant Atkins, in my opinion. Oh, Edwards gets romper stomped at the 15, and it's going to be first tackle. Good tackle there from Brendan Piakura, and now the Panthers, Paul Adamotti. He'll get it to the 20. Both teams haven't been making a great deal of meters, but the Broncos got something going on fourth tackle at the very minimum to get them out of trouble. Panthers, though. Scott Sorensen, Category 1. That is huge. That means that Scott Sorensen won't play next week. Oh my gosh. That's the last we'll see of Scott Sorensen this year. That's a huge loss immediately for the Panthers. So fit tackle, and now the Panthers get the ball to the 50. That was a good set. A really good set. Brenton says, oh no, he don't look good. It's a Cat 1. He's not playing this week. He's not playing next week. Yikes. That is a big loss there of Scotty Sorensen. First tackle here for the Broncos. They're going to grab the ball at the 15. Katapani. That is massive news for the Panthers, man. And they're also now down to 3 on the bench. Rather than having 4 on the bench, they're down to 3. First tackle for the Broncos. Now second tackle. They'll be at the 20. Third tackle. Mitchell says, Garner is the greatest second rower of all time. He should be starting. No, Will Zillman, mate. That's the greatest player of all time. He can play any position, so he goes back row. Fourth tackle here for the Broncos, and they'll be at the 25. Mitchell says, Garner is the greatest... Oh, I've already read that stupid comment. Mark Whelan says, good take, Edwards. It was, but this is a very intense start of this game. Fit tackle for the Broncos at the 30, and like I said, they weren't making a great deal of meters. The Panthers found a way in that fourth to get it out to the 50, but now the Panthers will get the ball to the 20, and they're going to bring it out to the 25 to the 30 through Paul Alamonte. Gets the offload away. Isaac Tungo at the 35, at the 40. Good run there from Isaac Tungo, and great offload from Paul Alamonte. Risky, though. First tackle, they go to the left-hand side. Remember, the Panthers are the best first half team in the competition. The Broncos are the best second half team in the competition. If you're a Broncos fan, as long as you're not down by 20-plus points going into halftime, there is still every opportunity for you to come back in the game. But are you going to be able to break down the Panthers' defense, which has been incredible since round 20, and also across the season is still as the third best defensive team in the competition? To the right-hand side, Nathan Cleary, fourth tackle. He's going to run this ball to the 30, and now he's taken out of the fifth option. Really interesting that he's decided to do that. He's not going to be kicking it on fifth, so it's going to have to be Blaze Talungi now. They go out to the left to Blaze Talungi, and Talungi is going to kick that one up. Should be an easy one here for the Broncos. Chisai Katapani. No, it's Dean Mariner, sorry. I'll get that confused a lot today. I always, for some reason, my brain just never clocks on between Chisai Katapani and Dean Mariner. I always say the opposite one. Sorry about that. Benny West says, I'm scared, nervous, much go Broncos. Well, good luck, Benny. 75 minutes for us to find out. Oh, nearly a penalty there to the Broncos, but they don't give it. And Ben Hunt, he'll be taken down to the 23. Hopefully that's a good sign that the referee's going to keep his whistle out of his mouth, because Ashley Klein on Friday absolutely would have called that. Reece Walsh, good run to the 40 on fourth tackle. He rolls it back. They go to the right-hand side to Adam Reynolds. Reynolds gives it across to... Oh, Stags, he lost the ball? No, that was just Brian Toll's headgear that was making me feel like he lost the ball. And they again get to the 50. So, okay set. Nothing too crazy from the Broncos. Okay set. And they're just going to try and keep the Panthers down here because they are getting a few metres up that middle of the field. And it will be first tackle for the Panthers at the 23. Brenton says, can they not use their 18th man? No, because it wasn't foul play. So they can only use their 18th man, I believe, if it's 3 concussions. If it's 3 players that go out due to concussions, that's 1. So if they have 2 more, then they can. Or if it's foul play that has led to him going out, which that wasn't. It was an unfortunate mix-up between him and Blaze Salungi. So no, they can't use their 18th man currently. 4th tackle for the Panthers, and they'll beat the 48. Again, they're getting to the 50, though. They go to the right-hand side of Nathan Cleary. Cleary goes back onto the inside looking for an offload, gets the offload. Mitch Kenny, then on to Isaiah Yeo. Isaiah Yeo is going to run this ball to the 37. It'll be fit tackle, and now Cleary can get involved in the kicking game. Mitch Kenny to Nathan Cleary. And Nathan Cleary puts that one up in the air. It's a decent enough chase, but it will be a good grab by Josiah Kotapani, and it'll be taken down to the 5. Good chase there from Liam Martin and Isaac Tungo. Scott James says, Justin Sundo, is it true Peasant might be going to the Roosters? Or Peasant's going to be talked about for a lot of teams. You know, Peasant will be talked about for the Titans. He'll be talked about for the Dragons. He'll be talked about for the Roosters. He'll be talked about for everyone, man. So be prepared for a lot of conversations surrounding Jonah Peasant in this upcoming future. The Broncos go to the right-hand side. And now before tackle at 20, Panthers are doing what they do best. They're keeping the Broncos down here, which is slowly building the field position battle here for the Panthers. The Broncos on fit tackle now have only gotten out to the 30. They've only gotten out to the 30. And Corey Pakes off to Reece Walsh. And Walsh is going to kick this one straight down the field. It will find grass, though, and then it'll bounce back. Oh, there's a chance. Oh, it's going to be a fresh set of 6 here for the Broncos. It was a mistake from the Broncos. Get the ball bounce back to them. The Broncos get the ball bounce back to them, catch it, flick it, and the Panthers chuck their hand out. And now the Broncos are going to get a fresh set of 6 here. 0 tackle at 25. Very lucky there for the Broncos, but that's what happened in the Panthers-Warriors game that worked out for the Panthers. And now this time it works against the Panthers. Wowee. All right, Broncos, they're on the attack. First tackle. Both teams are usually quite good here in this area, though. Broncos very good in the red zone, but the Panthers very good defensively in the red zone. Second tackle here for the Broncos at the 8. 33 minutes to go in the first half. Right-hand side, Reece Walsh. They'll give it out to Ben Hunt. Great question there, Brent Edsley. Where was Edwards? Dylan Edwards nowhere to be seen there, but the bounce was very unfortunate too. They go to the left-hand side. Corey Pakes up to Reece Walsh. He gets it across here. Oh, it's great defense. Isaac Tungo, and it's a knock-on from the Broncos. Isaac Tungo has just stopped a guaranteed try alongside Paul Alamoti, but Isaac Tungo has made the tackle here, crunched him, and it's a knock-on from Gehamachi Basaki, which will get the Panthers out of trouble here. Great pass there from Reece Walsh. The catch was great. The catch was fine. But then as he's... Oh, did he actually lose that ball? Shibasaki? They haven't challenged it, so I'm assuming that he must have. But that angle there didn't necessarily look like it was a knock-on. But either way, 4 from 4 completions for the Panthers, 4 from 5 for the Broncos, and the Panthers will get the ball here at their own defensive 10. Yeah, they're talking about the atmosphere at Suncorp Stadium. You can feel it on the TV, to be fair, but I know that it would be an insane atmosphere at Suncorp right now. It was great defense, Monkey Muay Thai. You were always expecting that, however, out of the Panthers. And you should expect it out of the Broncos in their defensive 20 tonight as well. Klaus says Broncos' new name is Knees. Is Knees? Knees? What? Third tackle now for the Panthers at 25. Adam Reynolds is signalling something to the referees here. Luke Garner. Oh my gosh, the replacement. Luke Garner's shoving Reynolds. What's happened here? Reno is saying he's putting his hand up to tell the referee to come and check out Luke Garner. Garner's then gotten up really wobbly and then pushed Reno. I don't even know what's happening here. No, it's not a head slam. I can understand why Garner's upset, but it's not. There's nothing wrong with what Reno's done there. There's nothing wrong with what Reno's done. And Garner's okay. So third tackle. I reckon he's just probably hit his back pretty hard there. From getting... Oh, penalty to the Panthers. We've seen the first penalty of the game. Penalty to the Panthers. We have seen the first penalty of the game. Bucks' Panthers got away with a knock-on. I did hear the commentary talking about it. I wasn't focusing on that at the time, but maybe. Either way, Panthers will get the penalty here at the 40. At the 40. Good kick. Good kick. So the Panthers will get their first attacking opportunity of the game here. Klaus says knees because they lower than any arse. Something's wrong with you, Klaus, that's for sure. So 10 minutes into the first half here, guys. 30 minutes to go of the first half. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. And don't forget to go subscribe to BKRtravel in the pinned comment. Second tackle now for the Panthers. They go to the right-hand side. Nathan Cleary. He gives it out the back here. Dylan Edwards. Good rush up defense here from Shibasaki. And it's going to be third tackle at the 20. Third tackle at the 20 here. Here we go. Chance of the Panthers. And it's going to be Liam Martin. He's going to be 10 metres away from the line. Fourth tackle, Mitch Kenny off to Nathan Cleary. Cleary to Moses Leota. Leota quickly to Zayo at the back here. Panthers! Oh, Talangi 3 metres out. Fit tackle. If you're the Panthers, you need to take the crowd out of it. An early try here would do that. Nathan Cleary knock on there from the Broncos. Panthers get the ball back. 0 tackle. It's 0 tackle. 3 metres away from the line. If they don't make a knock on there, it's a try. So it's worthwhile. 0 tackle here for the Panthers, the 15. This is nerve-wracking stuff here for the Bronx, but like I've said, they're very good usually in the defensive 20. First tackle here for Penrith. They were so close to scoring a try, that doesn't get knocked down. Mitch Kenny out the back to Moses Leota, and Leota's going to run this ball up hard to the 4 metres. Second tackle. The Panthers can score here. They take the crowd out of it for the time being. It's Nathan Cleary. Cleary underneath here to Liam Martin. Liam Martin just rolls this ball across the field, left-hand side. He gets away from 1, he gets away from 2, he gets away from 3. He passes the ball off here to Lindsay Smith. And then Lindsay Smith, he'll just run this ball into the line of the 5. That was great work there from Liam Martin. It just didn't really work out in the end for the team overall. They're shaping out to the right-hand side here, and they do go right. Mitch Kenny out of the back here. Edwards. Alamotti with the try time. Paul Alamotti for the Penrith Panthers will make it 4-0 here with a kick to come from the sideline. It's a great try there from the Panthers. You could see them faking out that left-hand side. You could see them actually shaping out that right-hand side. And it's actually come out quite easy in the end. Now roll it back here. Mitch Kenny will give it out the back here for Edwards. Edwards with a really quick pass. Isaac Tungo, I feel like, should have run into the line a little bit more, which would have brought Josiah Katapani inside more, which would have given more space and more opportunity for Alamotti. But regardless, Alamotti will still put the ball down in the corner. Katapani makes a decent enough attempt at it. You can't really blame him for that. But ultimately, Alamotti in this corner. There's 4-0 with a kick to come. Who would South? Sir Howes has carved them up, Penrith. Yeah, Mark, please don't comment there's a try or something big happened in the chat until you hear me commentate it. There are a lot of people here who can't watch the game, so they actually do just watch this stream and listen to what I'm saying to have an idea of what's happening. So if you say there's a try in the chat before I commentate it for you guys, it's not ruining it for me, but it is ruining it for a lot of people here. So that's why you've been timed out there by the moderators. You need to just wait and celebrate and whatnot once you hear me commentate it, right? Because we're doing as best as we can here. But unfortunately, Shibasaki does completely come off of his line there and leaves Josiah Katapani hung and dry. Hung and dry. Jeez, Alamotti has been so good for the Panthers when he's been needed, and that's a great put down considering. I'm pretty certain he gets this down. Have they confirmed this, by the way? Have they confirmed this? I think they have confirmed it. I'm not too sure. No, they have confirmed it. I thought it was a try. But everyone's kind of, that angle there looked like it might have been a potential bounce, but it could have also come from the fact that he put it down and then bounced from that. Cleary will make it 6-0. Great kick from the sideline, and they will silence the crowd for now. I'd love to have a quick little look at that. I'd love to have a quick little look here at that try again. RCCF says Shib's fault. Absolutely. And that's the thing. I'm really glad you say that, Art, because most people will look at the winger there. 1 second here. Yeah, he gets that. I'm sorry, but if you look at it from the back angle, it didn't look great, but that angle, you can clearly see that was a try. But you're right, RCCF, it was Shib's fault, but most people will always look to blame the winger. But right then was a great shout for Katapani. Kind of still stayed where he was meant to be, and the centre of Shibasaki has come completely in. A lot of the time you'll see Katapani completely come in, or just the winger completely come in with the centre, but this time he kind of held his line for the most part, which gave him a fighting opportunity against Paul Alamotti. He still couldn't get it, but if he had to come in completely, it would have been an open try. Because he stayed out there, he still kept him to his wing, and it made it a lot harder for Alamotti to score. So that's why I don't blame Katapani there at all. Another question, I don't know why you put the loading side before. Third tackle here at the 25. Scott says, had to close chat so it doesn't get ruined for me. Yeah, that's the thing, Scott. But the moderators do well. Jay and all the moderators, they do their best in regards to timing people out who do ruin the score and stuff early. So fourth tackle here for the Panthers. They're going to get this ball to Dylan Edwards, and Edwards now will be at the 50 on fifth tackle. Fifth tackle, yeah, it's a try, solid kick. A great kick from Nathan. So Blaze Lungi, they get it out here, fifth tackle, they've got numbers, Brian Toll with the 40, the 35, he kicks the ball over the top here, there's a chance here, where's the bounce, he'll knock it on, Blaze Lungi, and it'll be Broncos ball at the 13. There will be a knock-on from Casey McLean, who was chasing that ball through. But it was a nice play from the Panthers. They found that space on that left-hand side. Brian Tuttle with a nice little dink. Reece Walsh was back there, so even with the ball getting caught by Casey McLean, who might have potentially been offside, but they didn't see that. Reece Walsh had that defense, and it was just too hard for McLean to do anything. It was still fit tackle. He had to throw the ball back. Either way, this was going to happen. Kamala says, my two faves going head-to-head. Hashtag Maroons all day. Well, how can you be hashtag Maroons all day if you're a Panthers fan? And then also, you can't have these. You can't have two teams. Which team is yours? You have to support one. Someone member for 40 months. Appreciate you, someone for being a member and supporting the channel. Says how good a final game's played in the Arvo. This is what I'm saying. I like the NRL's decision to do this. I do. That's not a penalty. Broncos fans, stop it. Third tackle for the Broncos at the 25. It wasn't. They tried it. They wanted it, but they couldn't get it. But thank you very much, someone. Silencer says the power of saving a try. Absolutely. Left-hand side. Broncos taking out the 45 on fit tackle. Piakura. He's looking like he's on one here. Oh, not a great kick there from Ben Hunt. That's going to just land around the 20 where Brian Toto will pick it up at the 24. And he's going to bring this ball out now to the 30, the 35. Good run there from Brian Toto. Not a great kick at all by Ben Hunt. Training says, based on that try, Broncos are cooked. The bunker's getting paid. Alamoli knocked it on. No, not at all. If you look at the front angle, you can see that it was a try. You look from the back angle, it looked like there might have been a bounce, but ultimately it's because he puts the ball down on the ground and bounces back up into his hand, which we do see quite a lot in the NRL. So if you want to go back and complain about potential knock-on from earlier on, at around the 20, the 30 that people were talking about, maybe, but that one was a try. That one was a try. So left-hand side, Nathan Cleary gives it off here to Lindsay Smith, then to Luke Garner, and Garner can't get the offload away. He'll be 25 metres out from the line. Kahoma says, who do you got, bro? Well, Panthers lead at half-time. They need to be leading by about 12 for me to be convinced that the Panthers get it, because the Broncos are the best second-half team of the comp, but they're also a poor-ish first-half team, not an awful first-half team. Poor-ish first-half team. Best second half team of the comp, whilst the Panthers are the best first half team of the comp, and but they fall away in the second half, so it'll really come down to that halftime score. But right now, before the game started, I did go Panthers 1-12. Third tackle here for the Broncos at the 30. Ezra Mam's getting his hamstring worked to the sideline. Obviously, hasn't come on yet, but it does show why he's on the 14. They're not exactly convinced in him starting. Oh, that's a milked penalty from Dean Mariner. No, I've got to disagree with that. I think Dean Mariner's milked the living shit out of that. I think Dean Mariner has milked the living shit out of that, but for people who are questioning the referee's intentions here, that was a very clear milk. That's a very clear milk from Dean Mariner. But he's got away with it, and they've given him the penalty. Justin says, who did the Broncos beat last week? They didn't have to play last week because they got the week off after beating the Raiders. First versus fourth and second versus third. The Storm beat the Bulldogs in second, so they got the week off and then played on the Sharks on Friday. And the Broncos and Raiders, the Broncos beat the Raiders, so they got the home game here in the prelim 2 weeks later and got to skip last week. Blood bin here. We're going to have to check in on his eye. Yo is bleeding out of the just above his right eye. Bucks is slowing down the ruck so much they deserve that pen against them. Sure, but not that penalty. If you think that the Panthers are slowing down the ruck, I'm not going to disagree with you. But in regards to that one there, it was a milk from Dean Mariner for sure. All right, so they're just wiping, and now they're taping up Yo's head. He's not coming off the field. He's a warrior. He's a warrior, Isaiah Yo. So Broncos 40 metres out, and not Brandon Piakura. That's going to be Jordan Ricky, who brings his ball to the 30. First time I've seen him today. First tackle, Adam Reynolds gives out the back here to the left-hand side. Ben Hunt off to Reece Walsh. Oh, there's going to be a penalty there. No, lucky they didn't score, actually. I think he's going to have a sideline. Oh, that's great defense, Penrith. That's great defense, Penrith. They take him over the sideline. I'm saying a bit of ball don't lie there. I'm saying a bit of ball don't lie because I think the Panthers tried to milk a penalty, but also probably was a penalty. If you look at this again, so they probably should have received a penalty for that, for the player being taken out, which gave them the space. But then because Josiah Katapani got free, and then they took him over the sidelines, a bit of ball don't lie. Stubber says, can't wait for another shit grand final. Well, I'm feeling like this grand final, regardless of who the Storm play, is actually going to be a belter. I really do. I know it's going to be repetitive, but I do think it's going to be a belter between the two teams, if those are the two teams that play. And I do think Broncos Storm could easily be as well. Great defense, yeah, absolutely. All right, so Luke Garner, he's going to get this ball here to the 42 on third tackle. It's only 6-0 here, Broncos fans. Only 6-0. Don't worry too much just yet. Mitch Kenny gives it off to Lindsay Smith. Lindsay Smith to Isaiah. Nathan Cleary. Dylan Edwards had to go behind. Gives it off to Isaac Tungo. Tungo here at the 45, and he'll be taken down to the 4 tackle. Good tackle from Ben Hunt, otherwise they're away. But Cleary with a pass, it just went behind. Dylan Edwards. He had to reach back for it. Out to the left-hand side now, and the Panthers' Blaze Salungi. He's going to be 4 tackle now. 5th tackle at the 40 on the Broncos side of the field. I'd rather Panthers 5-peat than Storm win, Brenton says. Well, I'd love to see the historical value. Oh, no, they're going to let this ball be allowed to bounce here, the Broncos. And they're lucky they get the ball to 13. It'll be first tackle. Gee whiz. Oh, that's a penalty against Garner. Well, how can you penalise them for the hold down before, but you don't penalise that? Panthers got away from that one. If you're saying that's milking, well, how about the other one being milking? That one was more of a penalty to the Broncos than the other one was a penalty to the Broncos. That doesn't make sense, Grant Atkins. 3rd tackle now for the Broncos at the 23. Almost 400 watching. Hit the likes up and jump in the chat. Lurker's always welcome. Exactly right, Jay. Exactly right. 4 tackle for the Broncos at the 30. And Pakes gives it to Corey Jensen. And Jensen's going to be 5th tackle now at the 38 on their own side of the field. Vassman says, if Panthers make the grand final, I'm not watching NRL again. Yes, you will. We'll see you next week. All right, so they kick out this right-hand side. It'll be Brian Tuttle. We will see you next week. Well, you know it. Everyone always says this, and I always reply the same thing. If anyone here watching has the thought process that if this team wins or this team makes it, blah, 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 and they say, I'm not watching the NRL again, the referees are so shit, not watching it again, we'll see you next week, mate. We'll see you next week. 3rd tackle now with the Panthers will be at the 50. Tron says, who are we going for? I'm just going for a good game, and right now it is a good game. Nathan Cleary is going to get this ball here to the 40 on 4 tackle. I did tip the Panthers 1-12, but it all comes down to how that halftime score looks, in my opinion. So the Panthers will get this ball here at the 30, and Moses Leota on 5th tackle rolls it back to Mitch Kenny. Kenny to Nathan Cleary, and he's going to put a little dinker. Good chase! I think this is a knock on Bronx. No, it's a knock on Panthers, is it? Interesting. I don't think they challenged this, but that was a bold call there from Grant Atkins. Bold call. So let's have a look here. So Isaac Tungo and Walsh there. No, it is. No, he's absolutely spot on there, Grant Atkins. Well done. All right, see you then. Exactly right, Basmus. We will absolutely hand that over to Grant Atkins and say that was the correct call. All right, so 2nd tackle now for the Broncos, and they're going to get this ball here to the 20. And Payne Haas will be 3rd tackle at the 27 on his own side of the field. 20 minutes gone here at the first half, guys. 20 minutes to go of the first half. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe. Reece Walsh knocks it on. And the Panthers will get this ball at the 40. And that is exactly what happens with the Broncos. It's what we said before the game started. The Panthers will frustrate the living shit out of them. And the Broncos need the plays to come off, because if the plays don't come off, and Reece Walsh makes mistakes like this, which we know he can be very 50-50. That Cowboys game is a prime example. Reece Walsh was the definition of awful in that Cowboys game, but he was also the definition of perfect in that Cowboys game, and there was no in between. So against a team like the Panthers here, it's going to be a very different outcome to how that Cowboys game went, which was also controversial in regards to a 4 pass. But the Broncos can't be making these mistakes and giving the opportunities to the Panthers in these situations. Right now, the Panthers do have the lead in this game, and they are controlling the game quite well, and they are frustrating the Broncos in regards to the opportunities that they saw against the Raiders and other teams that were much easier opposition than what the Panthers are. 2nd tackle here for Penrith, and they're going to be at the 25. They'll go to the right-hand side. Noffo says, yep, I'll be watching next week, and I hate all the teams left. Exactly right, Noffo. That's just how it goes, man. You can be frustrated, you can be complaining about it, but at the end of the day, we're all going to watch it, because we're all rugby league fans. Isaiah is 4 tackle, 5 metres out. Got to be very careful here, Broncos. He can't go down too much. Right-hand side, Mitch Kenny. Nathan Cleary steps in the inside there, still going. And it's 3 metres out and 5th tackle. 3 metres out, 5th tackle here for the Panthers. They roll it back to Mitch Kenny. Kenny gets it out the back to Blaze Salungi. Kicks this ball through. Good kick. Drop out coming up. Good tackle from Luke Garner on Jordan Ricky, which is going to force the Broncos into a dropout. Toilet water doesn't seem to be working thus far. They put out another meme about that. I think just last night. I think Kempy put it out about him. He's got like a coffee cup or a water cup, and it was like a toilet. Dom says, was that Cleary's mouth guard that fell out? I'm not sure, but it was a pretty heavy contact between him and I think it was Corey Jensen. And they go for the short dropout here, the Broncos. Not the play, lads. That is not the play. But the Panthers will get this ball at 10. Hey, Broncos, my advice would be to kick the ball down deep and hard, because the Panthers, I know you're very good defensively in your own 20, but you can't be going down by 3+ scores at half time. Even though you can come back, you can't be doing it. They're buying into that kind of rhythm right now, the Broncos. So first tackle here, 7 metres out. And Mitch Kenny up to Yo, then to Nathan Cleary. Cleary to Luke Garner, and Garner is going to be 5 metres out, second tackle. Up here, Kura's mouth guard, thank you, Buck. He copped Cleary's shoulder to the head. So out to the right, Yo, then to Nathan Cleary. Cleary off to Dylan Edwards. Edwards at the back here. This is, no good scramble defense from the Broncos. This is what we're talking about in their defensive 20. Third tackle at the 5. Isaac Tungo back to Paul Adamotti. Adamotti hits the grass, but his eye Papali'i picks it up 5 metres out from the line. Fourth tackle. Fourth tackle, Mitch Kenny. He gets it to Nathan Cleary. Cleary at the 10 to Blaze Talungi. Talungi fakes the kick, rolls back. That was stupid. Fifth tackle now at the 5. 17 and a half minutes to go first half. Mitch Kenny, he'll give it to Nathan Cleary up into the air, I'm assuming. No, he'll grab it through. Reece Walsh gets slammed. He's got out. Well done, Reece Walsh. Well done, Reece. That was huge to get out of the enforce. No dropout there. Massive. And then I feel like a penalty could come up for the Broncos. It usually happens after a moment like that. Third tackle here for the Broncos, and they're going to be at the 20. Usually you feel like a penalty comes from a frustrating moment like that for the Panthers, where they felt like they had Reece Walsh caught on the in goal, but he just finds a way out. Broncos now fourth tackle at the 28. That was huge from Reece. Massive, massive, massive. Adam Reynolds, he'll get this ball to the 35, so maybe not. Maybe there won't be a penalty. Usually we do see it in that situation. Ben Hunt, he'll kick this ball from the 41, and it's going to go straight down to Paul Adamotti. It's a good grab. Very difficult take for Paul Adamotti, but he does take it at the 15 and brings it out of the 20. First tackle. Who would tout to houses make more mistakes, Broncos? They've still made a few. Right now, if this is the halftime score, though, like the Panthers don't score or whatever, like this game is probably an advantage to the Bronx in the second half. Brian To'o. But the Panthers can adapt too, and that's... Brian To'o's knocked the ball on. Brian To'o knocks the ball on. The Broncos will have the ball at the 30. Zero tackle. Zero tackle. Extra stakes in the second half going to be interesting again. If this score... I'd probably back the Broncos in the second half if it stays this score. So first tackle now for the Brisbane at the 24. They go to the left-hand side. They've been down here a couple of times. That's the first Penrith error, by the way. They were 13 from 14 going into that. 13 from 14. They were 13 from 13, sorry, now they're 13 from 14. Right-hand side, and Reece Walsh gets it across. Intercept the Panthers away! It's Casey McLean! At the 30, the 40, the 50, the 45, the 40, the 35, the 30, the 20. It's a tractor for the Panthers! It's a penalty, Broncos! It's a penalty to the Broncos. Casey McLean ran the entire length of the field. They've said he's offside. Reece Walsh, you are very, very lucky. And yeah, it was close. It was close, Reece. Very, very lucky there. It was offside. That was close because he was rolling the ball. Yeah, Lucas is well bailed. Yeah, Reece Walsh has been bailed out there. Casey McLean taken forever to get back on side here to slow it all down. Wow, Broncos. Your heart would have been absolutely shattered for a moment there, but you will get away with one. Wow, is all I'll say about that. Reece is going to be much more careful about those cutout passes. All right. So first tackle for Brisbane, and they'll go out to the right-hand side. Fuck me, Broncos. They've knocked the ball on first tackle. Sorry for the swear, guys, but they had every opportunity right there to turn the game and really score and equal it out. Biffo, someone slipped with an uppercut, son. Bush. Biffo. So knock on Broncos, and the Panthers will get the ball to 10. That's really unfortunate there for Brisbane. They had a chance to really set up a foundation and score to make it 6-6, which would have been just massive for their second half chances. But Biffo, someone fell on a headbutt. Come on, you cats. Someone throw. Stop throwing handbags. Start throwing uppercuts, son. Dearie me, come on. Get a bit of excitement, you know. I'm going to have to close these curtains because the sun's really coming out here in Ho Chi Minh right now. And is the lighting still okay, even if I do that? Yeah, okay, it's still okay. All right, so it is 15 minutes to go to the first half, and the Panthers will have first tackle to 15. Yeah, Sundo, get those biffos in the chat. And Brocky says, grab his stick and twist it. Yeah, probably not, lucky Mitch Kenny realised there was going to be a 4 pass there. His eye Papali'i's going to get this ball here to the 35. He didn't get away with anything. He passed the ball fine because he acknowledged that it was going to be forward and then waited for the pass. X-Factor says, when they called that intercept back, the crowd fed Casey so hard. Yeah, well, I would have done it. Everyone here would have done it. Of course, you're definitely going to feed him. He just ran the whole length of the field. I've done that many times at Seabar Super Stadium before. Fifth tackle now at the 35, or 45, sorry, on the Broncos side of the field. Nathan Cleary is going to put that ball up. Just a simple one there, not real much of a chase from the Panthers, and don't know what Katapani's trying to do there with the spin. He should have just grabbed it and ran. That was just a hilarious shot of the crowd, though. Loved it. Yeah, it'll be great to see that in slow motion, too. That'll be great for promo. NRL would love that promo. They would love that. Ben says, those lollies are gone. Jack Funmoney says, really sucks the life out of you in a prelim. Get a fresh set and screw it immediately. Yeah, first tackle, right on the Panthers line. You can't be giving. And that's the thing with this Broncos team. Again, first half hasn't been great. Panthers have clearly been the better team in the first half. But it's an advantage to the Broncos right now. It's still only 6-0. However, you still don't like, Walsh will go for a kick before the last. It's a great kick. Oh, my gosh. Edwards, that is actually an amazing kick from Reece Walsh, but Edwards was able to get the ball and keep it back in field before it went out. Wow, great kick from Walsh, but even better from Edwards to stop it from going over the sideline. So Brian To'o now, he's going to get this ball second tackle here to the 30. Second tackle. Huatau says one more try before the break, Penrith. They really do need it. Right now it's advantage Broncos in the second half for mine. Panthers are obviously in the lead and have been the better first half team, but we expected this. Fourth tackle. But a low-scoring grind is what this game has clearly become, which would favour and suit the Panthers even in the second half. Fifth tackle at 38. Now Mitch Kenny off to Nathan Cleary, and Cleary is going to kick that ball up. There's a good chase here, though. They're trying to get this one, and they'll be fine. No, it's an escort. Oh, Shibasaki's had a shocking game here, Shibasaki. Gehamat Shibasaki has had a horror show in this first half, and it's a penalty Panthers, and I would not be surprised if they went for the 2. I would not be surprised with it. But with the amount of points, it's a correct call against Shibasaki. It wasn't that score. No, they go for the try. They're going for the try here. 5 minutes out. I like it against a high-scoring Broncos offense in the second half. You need more points than 6. Left-hand side is Ido, and you need more points than 8, realistically. So Luke Garner is going to be 5 minutes out from the line. Second tackle. Rodder says, oh, screw me. So Luke Garner is down here grabbing at his leg. Oh, this could be a bit of drama. This could be a bad hit from Xavier Willison. God bless Luke Garner. I hope he's all right. But this might be a bad tackle for another penalty against the Bronx. Luke Garner. Oh, yeah, that's a penalty for sure against Xavier Willison. Absolutely. It's a dangerous tackle every day of the week. Yep, it is a penalty. What is that? That's a stupid decision from Xavier Willison. Why has he done that? That's 2 consecutive penalties in a row against the Bronx. Got to be careful here. A little cannibal into the legs. Absolutely, Buck. That was such a stupid decision there from Xavier Willison. And now the Panthers are going to take the 2, I think. They are. Yep, they are going to take the 2 from just to the left-hand side, so they're probably about to go up 8-0. Get off the field, Willison. That was just really, really silly. Like, that is such a dangerous play there on that player, and it's a penalty every day of the week. I never questions if Panthers are trying, though. Trying what? Trying what? And what are you arguing? Panthers are trying, though. Trying what? Trying to say, like, the Panthers are trying the game? Well, we know that. What are you trying to say? Both teams are trying, mate. It's a preliminary final. Nick Hills' modern day grub. That was a very grubby play. Alright, so Nathan Cleary here. I'm not going to read Z's coming out, and I know that's going to be removed from Jay. Yep. Nathan Cleary will get the kick, and it will be 8-0 into the Panthers with 10 minutes to go in the first half, guys. We've got 30 minutes. We've got 10 minutes to go in the first half. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. And don't forget to go check out BKRtravel in the pinned comment. Expert says, Madge just got on the radio and said, don't make that play unless it's Cleary standing in the tackle. What? Madge just got on the radio and said, don't make that play unless it's Cleary standing in the tackle. Are you... Oh, okay, I get what you're saying now. I do get what you're saying. Gee whiz. Gee whiz. Charlie says, at last Panthers will seal at 100. Well, they're up 8-0. If they can score a converted try before half-time, I just don't know if the Broncos come back from a 3-score deficit, despite the fact they can come back from a 3-score deficit. Dom says, Panthers are trying to win a prelim. What a shock. Yeah, no, it's crazy. No, it's really crazy stuff, Dom. You know, that's what we're really wondering. Second tackle now for the Panthers. They're at the 25, and Liam Martin gets away from one tackle. Ben Hunt missed that one, but luckily Gehamat Shibasaki makes the second attempt. And now they go to the left-hand side. I don't think we've seen a single 6 again so far. And the referee has kept his whistle out of the mouth. Grant Atkins is having a good game here. Grant Atkins is having a really good game. Fourth tackle, Dylan Edwards. Edwards will step, and that was a pretty pointless play from Edwards. Fifth tackle out to 45. Scott, the Broncos were given an opportunity to knock the ball on. That is correct. So Nathan Cleary, he's going to kick this ball into the corner. As it'll be fresh, but there's a worry in regards to his injury. And they'll get Josiah Kodapani out of the 20, and now he'll be first tackle at 24. It says people forget the Panthers are down a whole player without Sorensen. The second half will be extra taxing on the edge players. Sure, but they've got plenty of depth in the back row. Luke Garner and Isaiah Papali'i are there. You know, they've got plenty of depth there, mate. You know, I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine in that regards. Nixon getting around the Bronx. So third tackle for the Broncos. Now fourth tackle, Xavier Willison. And he'll be at the 44. Predictions coming true. Panthers win first half. Broncos win second half. Yeah, we'll have to see if the Broncos can come out and up this intensity in the second half. Ezra Mann, they're not getting the game played at their style at all right now. This is what the Panthers do. But Ezra Mann will come on the field for the Broncos. And now let's see what impact he can have. Noffa says Atkins has obviously been told to let it flow because Plonker Klein ruined the other semi. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you. Second tackle. I still think the Storm were the better team. The Sharks looked awful, but Ashley Klein had the whistle way too much in his mouth. 23 Hawaii says, Broncos don't let the Panthers do a repeat. I swear, save us all. Right now, it's looking like the Storm might have to save us from a 5P, which is every possibility. People are going to tip the Panthers. Panthers will be favourites, but I still wouldn't be surprised if the Storm can find a way to win. Fifth tackle, Mitch Kenny out to Nathan Cleary, and Cleary is just going to whack that one down there with an awkward kick, but Reece Walsh will pick it up and he'll bring it out here to the 35 to 40. He gets away from one. Luckily they had a play there. I think it might have been, I don't even know who that was. Liam Henry made the tackle. Now it's the first 6 again of the game here, and it's a legitimate 6 again. First tackle for the Broncos at the 50. I wouldn't worry too much. The Panthers. Broncos are intent on making errors, that's not how you spell errors, as possible when they get a sniff on the line. Sure, but the Broncos are well known for not being too good in the first half and being very good in the second half. And the Panthers are very well known for being very good in the first half and not great in the second half. So there is definitely a valid concern there, worry-wise. There's no debate about that, based off of how we've seen this season, especially the last 10 rounds of the season. Those two stats that I just mentioned do link up towards each other. Reece Walsh, they go to the left-hand side, and the Broncos will be 15 metres out from the line, fifth tackle. And Piakur is trying to complain about I think he's trying to milk a high tackle here. What's he complaining about? He falls into the body. No high contact, he says. Great authority there from Grant Atkins. So fifth tackle at the 15. Ben Hunt to Adam Reynolds. Adam Reynolds kicks his ball across. Decent kick in a good area. Oh, still chancing for the Broncos. Oh, it's good scrambled defense from the Panthers, and the Broncos get done over 6 metres out. Panthers will get to play the ball here at the 6. Oh, okay. Video network error. I'm going to have to refresh this game. Oh, hold on. Are we still live, by the way, guys? Can you comment in the chat? Make sure that we are still, can you make sure right this very second that we are still live? What's happening right now? What is happening right now? Yeah, mate, all good. Okay, for some reason my watchnrl.com is struggling. Maybe I'll try to open up on a different thing. But either way, that was good defense there from the Panthers. Very good defense from the Panthers. And yeah, I'm back on. All right, so third tackle for the Panthers, and they're going to be at the 35 on their own side of the field. They give it to Dylan Edwards, and Edwards short ball to Isaiah Papali'i, who's going to be at the 42, fourth tackle. Close your prawn tabs. We'll never do that, Jay. Can't do that. 6 minutes to go here, first half. The pass was fine, Broncos fans. At the back here, great passing. Brian Tott with the 40, the 35. He's still going. He pushes away from a couple. He's still going past the ball, Brian Tott. They're going to have space on the right-hand side. Oh, it's going to be a penalty here to the Panthers. High tackle against the Broncos, and that's going to be really dangerous here. The Broncos might go down by 14 points because the Panthers are going to be in perfect attacking range. Yeah, that's a flat pass there from Mitch Kenny. It's a flat pass from Mitch Kenny, Broncos fans. It's not a forward pass, it's a flat pass. Mr. Tyrone says, please want to see the match. Yeah, well, please get a job. Bad Daddy says, Penrith deserves a 5-peat. They've got the biggest, strongest junior comp. It's about time clubs build from the ground up. Don't necessarily disagree with that. I would prefer to see somebody else win it, but I don't necessarily disagree with the way that you see that. 23 Hawaii says, I'm hoping we do something with Marky Mark before he goes back to Union. I don't think they'll reward him playing for Australia. He might play for Fiji, though. Would play for Fiji if he decides that he wants to do that. First tackle for the Panthers, and now it's going to be Liam Henry. He's going to get this ball here to the 10, second tackle. 10 metres out. And Mitch Kenny's eye, Nathan Cleary's eye, Papali'i, short ball, Blaze great passing. Brian To'o cuts back onto the inside. He'll be 5 metres out. Third tackle, good scramble defence from the Broncos. Now, have they covered that right-hand side well enough, considering they've all come out to the left? They go to the right-hand side, Blaze to Nathan Cleary to his eye, His eye, just runs it straight here, 10 metres away. 10 metres away, fourth tackle for the Panthers. Mitch Kenny gives it off to Nathan Cleary. Cleary underneath to Edwards. Edwards, quick pass. Here's a chance. Alamotti for the Panthers, and it's 12-0 with a kick to come. Broncos, you got to be very careful. You got to be very careful because this might be a 3-score game any moment now. Gee whiz, 4 minutes and 14 seconds to go in the first half, and the Panthers have taken a further lead to a 2 converted try game, but a potential to make it a 3-score game. Now, I will clarify for Broncos fans, this is no way near over yet. The Panthers are an incredible first half team, but they have consistently fallen away in second halves. They led the Melbourne Storm at halftime by 8 points and lost that game by 4. They led the Raiders at halftime and lost that game by 4. They led the Bulldogs 36-8 at halftime and then won the game 46-26 by the end of the game. So again, it showed a trajectory where the Panthers gave up a lot more points in the second half to what they scored. And there's context here, they were already leading. They gave up a lot of points in the second half to the Dragons, despite the fact they won 40-20. Right, so that's the Panthers. They are very good in first half. This is an expectation. The second half is usually where they fall away. Whilst the Broncos are quite well known for struggling in first halves, they did against the Raiders, and when I think they were down 18-12 at half time, and then found a way to win that game. In the end, they came back on it. They did against the Sharks. They've done it against many teams this year. So the Broncos are usually quite average in the first half, but come running home in the second half like a train. They're the best second half team of the comp. The only worry is the Panthers are very good defensively. The Panthers do know how to get this win through the experience. Even if the Broncos can score 2 converted tries to bring it back within 2, Broncos fans will get really chirpy and get loud and think they're really rocking them back into it, but the Panthers still know how to hold that game out. So very interesting thing coming up here in the second half, but we have called it perfectly so far. This is what we thought would happen before the game started. Israel says Broncos suck. Well, still too early to say that, but Nathan Cleary will put it over for a 14-0 lead at the Panthers, 3 minutes away from halftime. Royal Grand Majesty says Alamotti is so freakishly strong. Look at those legs. Yeah, exactly right, but Alamotti got dropped in the week of the... No, sorry, Alamotti came back. Well, Alamotti didn't play a lot of this season. Tom Jenkins was their winger for the most of this season, but Alamotti got in for the Warriors game. And then I think he also played last week against the Bulldogs, and then now he's playing here against the Broncos. It's quite interesting. They played the majority of the season with Tom Jenkins on the wing. Amanda says, coming to Bronx. Well, lot to do here, but it is doable. Steve, not happy with the Bronx. Royal Grand Majesty. Oh, that's right. Olivia says that was a clear forward pass. What was a clear forward pass? Oh, knock on for the Panthers there. Knock on for the Panthers there, and the Broncos will be 15 metres out from the line. If you're talking about the one at the 40/50, I thought that was flat as day. 0 tackle now for the Broncos. Now it's going to be first tackle, 8 metres out from the line. Broncos, Cook not done yet. Well, if they score here, no way are they done yet. Out at the left, Ben Hunt gives it off here to Adam Reynolds, but this will also tell you a lot about their attacking today in the Panthers' defence. Panthers are very good defensively in their 20, but the Broncos are the second best attacking team in the competition. Second tackle, 5 metres out. Ben Hunt, Adam Reynolds to Xavier Willison, and Willison's 5 metres away from the line. Third tackle. Axis ref loves the Penrith. No, I'm sorry, Axis, but that's ridiculous. You must be a Broncos fan because at the end of the day, this has been refed really well so far. The Broncos, Payne Haas, he'll be 5 metres out from the line. Fourth tackle. Oh, they're already blaming the refs, man. Like, my gosh, you can still win this game, lads. Adam Reynolds, he's offside. Lucky Adam Reynolds didn't kick that because Walsh would have been offside. Fifth tackle, 5 metres out from the line. Fair tackle, Ben Hunt gives it out. Left-hand side, short ball across. Payne Haas! Oh, 1 metre away. Good defense, Penrith. 1 metre away. Jeez, that was close, though. Nathan Cleary stopped Payne Haas, by the way. Nathan Cleary has just stopped the try for Payne Haas. Wow-wee. Winners win, son. That's what the Goats do. First tackle at the 8. 23 Hawaii says, come on, Broncos. If you guys don't give the Panthers a 5-peat, I won't talk any shit to you guys anymore until next season when the Roosters kick your head next year. No, you will. We'll see you talking shit about them tomorrow regardless. Third tackle now for the Panthers, and they're going to be the 25. Bad Daddy says Broncos are choking. Not necessarily. This is how these games go. If the Broncos come back in the second half, I don't know if they win it from here, but they've still got every opportunity to win the game in the second half. They're the best second half team in the competition attacking-wise. Do not write them off just yet. 1 minute to go the first half, fifth tackle. But if we go into the second half and the Panthers score first, then I'd be happy. I'd be pretty much wiping them out then to make it. If it was 20-0, I'd wipe out the Bronx then. But anything under, 3 scores is still chance, but I'm still backing the Panthers from here. So just like Katapani, he's going to bring this ball out of the 23. 45 seconds to go here in the first half. Steve says, I said, screw you Broncos because I hate them. Let's go to the mighty Panthers. Well, fair enough, Steve. Second tackle here for the Broncos. They're at the 35. Staggs has been held quite well by the Panthers today defensively. They go to Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt's going to give it up to Payne Haas here. And Payne Haas is going to run this ball to the 40. 35. 45, sorry. And there'll be third tackle. 25 seconds to go here. It's 20 seconds to go. They're not doing too much here, the Bronx. Ezra Mam gets it underneath here. It's a great run for the Broncos to the 45. Fourth tackle. Ben Hunt's going to go to Ezra Mam. Ezra Mam here. Just 10 seconds to go. He'll be taken down to the 33. All right, what can the Broncos do here? They go to the left-hand side quickly. Reece Walsh. Reece Walsh gets it across. Kehama Shibasaki. This is fifth tackle. Gets the offload away to Katapani. Katapani kicks it through to Dylan Edwards. And that, my friends, is halftime. All right. Well, this is what we expected. I want to put this out there again. This is what we expected. This does not mean that the Broncos are going to be out here today. I do not want anyone to think that this game is over at this point. If you've watched this season, if you've watched the way it's played out in the back half, this game is not over yet. It's 14 points. That's 2 scores plus also a penalty or a 2-point field goal. The Broncos, they are the best second half team in the competition, not great in the first. But let's go and have a look at these stats here at halftime. We're going to go have a look at these stats to really get a read for how this one's playing out. But I really want to emphasize here, this game is not over. But the worrying thing is that when Billy Walters has been the one that's been doing well in the 6, Ben Hunt's been the one doing well in the 7, Corey Pakes has been the one doing well in the 9, and Reece Walsh has been the one doing well in the 1. But unfortunately, when Reynolds and Ezra Mam have been there, the Broncos haven't flown as much as they have when they've had those injuries which force other players into the positions. And now they've had to revert, and we are seeing a lot more lackluster of an attack from the Broncos. But also, is that because the Panthers are so good defensively? Not for us, this game is over, mate. That's not how it works, mate. That's not how it works. But, you can feel free to think that. I also will still be tipping the Panthers from this point onwards, but I don't think that there's any world where we should just be saying the best second half team of the comp in the Broncos can't come back from it. So, guys, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here, and now let's run through the stats. Try scorers wise, the Panthers, Paul Alamotti twice, plus they've also kicked a penalty and they've converted both of their tries. Possession wise, 57% for the Panthers, 43% for the Broncos. If the Broncos can equal that out to about a 48% possession for them, even though they're still down by 4% of the Panthers and 2% from the 50-50, they've got a much better chance of winning this game if they can get this into the positive, where they get the ball 51%, 52%, they win this game. They have to adjust this to win this game by 8 to 9% in their favour. If they can't get above 50%, I don't think they win this game. They have to get to 51, 52% as a minimum, so they've got plenty more ball in that second half, which is how they do what they do best, and that is attack, that is really get that fast-paced creativity, fluidity going. This Broncos team, they need the ball in hand, and right now, they're struggling with it in the first half. Time and possession, 13 minutes and 2 seconds for the Broncos, 17 minutes and 35 seconds for the Panthers. Boom. Thank you for that, Grant Atkins. Thank you very much, Grant Atkins, because Ashley Klein, there was 24 minutes. They were actually complaining about this in podcasts after the game. Yesterday I saw, I can't remember who was talking about it, but the time and possession in that game between the Storm and the Sharks was 24 minutes. It wasn't even at 25 minutes of time and possession across the game. That's not good rugby league. This right now is good. That's 30 and a half minutes. 30 minutes and 36 seconds. 30 minutes and 36 seconds is a massive amount of ball in hand, time and possession. Massive. So that's why it's also a bit of a surprise the Broncos aren't doing better, because there's been more ball in hand. I really appreciate that. Anything above 25 is at least decent. Anything above 27 is amazing. This is immaculate. 30 and a half minutes. Completion rate, you want to be sitting at least at 80%. 80% at a minimum. The Broncos are at 78%. They're not there. They're not quite there. It's not awful, but they're not quite at the 80%. They're at 15 from 19. They've made 4 errors. Whilst the Panthers, they're at 87%. So they're 7% above and 9% above where the Broncos are at, but 7% above the minimum of 80%, with 21 from 24. And at one stage, they were 13 from 13. The Panthers have been holding the ball more. They've been doing better with the ball. They're not making too many mistakes, which is allowing the Broncos to get into position. But when the Broncos are actually getting the mistake from the Panthers and they are in position, they're making mistakes themselves and choking under the pressure. They've choked under the pressure in the attacking 20 multiple times. So the Broncos have got to really adjust that in the second half, because that stat right there, the Panthers could easily go on with this and go on with it well with that. Now, runs-wise, 114 runs for the Panthers, 979 run meters for the Panthers. Broncos are at 82 runs for 683 run meters. So if you go via the stat, the metric of 10 meters on average per run, which is a solid number. It's not it's not easy to get to, but 10 meters on average per run is a very solid number. If you're going via that metric, the Panthers at 979 for 114 runs would be, so that's 1,140 they would need to be there. So they'd be about 160 odd behind where they need to be for the 10 meters on average per run marker, right? But this is still a very good stat regardless of 979. Whilst the Broncos, they're at 683, the Broncos are at 82 runs, so that means that they're about 140 meters behind where they would need to be for the 10 meters on average per run. So realistically speaking, the Broncos do have a little bit more on the run meters per the amount of runs that they've had than the Panthers do, but because the Panthers have had 32 more runs, 92, 102, 112 to 114, 32 extra runs. Like, if you want to give them an unfair metric and give them 10 meters on average per run for that 320 meters, they do go to 783, 883, 983 to 1,000, which is about 20 meters above the Panthers. So actually, if you try to be a bit more fair about it, because they're still quite well behind, the Broncos would still be behind. They'd maybe be with an equal amount of ball, 940, 930, 950, between that 930 to 950 range. So the Panthers are still beating them out in this category if you try to equate the same amount of ball to the Broncos as you do for the Panthers. But based off of its actual stat that you can see right now, 991 meters for 115 runs for the Panthers. It will update at halftime. And the Broncos are at 683 for 82. So the Panthers are well in advance in that category by over 310 meters on its pure metric right now. That's massive. Then you go to the post-contact meters, and this is massively in favor of the Broncos. Massively. 267 post-contact meters from 82 runs for the Broncos. 254 post-contact meters for the Panthers from 115 runs. You know, that's a crazy stat for the Broncos. They are down 82 runs to 115. That's now 33 runs in total that separate these two teams. And yet the Broncos are above them by 13 meters. 33 runs disadvantage for the Broncos, and yet they've got 13 extra post-contact meters. That is a massive stat for the Broncos, and if it's an equated amount of ball possession, they probably get to about the 300, 325, maybe 330 marker. That's very good for the Broncos. So they are dominating the post-contact, but they're getting dominated in the run meters in general. Then you go to the line breaks, 2 for the Panthers, 0 for the Broncos. Not too much space that you're finding overall in this game, which is something the Broncos absolutely need to play the style of footy that we know they can play. But the Panthers are finding those line breaks down that left-hand side. They're really piecing them apart with the likes of Brian Tuttle there. Nathan Cleary's playing well down that left-hand side. Also, Blaze Slungy getting it down there. That left-hand side is what's killing the Broncos in a lot of ways, but they're actually scoring the tries on the other side. They're scoring the tries through Paul Alamotti, but they're finding more of the line breaks down that left-hand side with Brian Tuttle, which is quite interesting. Now you've got the tackle breaks, 26 for the Panthers, 24 for the Broncos. That is wild. That means that individually speaking, that both teams here aren't playing well defensively, but collectively speaking, the Panthers definitely are, and the Broncos will have to see what their defensive effective tackle percentage efficiency is. But right this very second, that is at least for the Broncos an average of 15 to 17 missed tackles at halftime for teams. The Broncos are 7 already above missed tackles, the average of the highest average of 15 to 17. They're at 24, and the Panthers are at 20. Oh, sorry, this is the actual opposite way around. It's the opposite way around. The Broncos have had 24 tackle breaks, so that's 24 missed tackles for the Panthers and 26 missed tackles for the Broncos. All right, so we'll get into the effective tackle percentage in a second. Average set distance, this is huge. 25 and under is turn the stream off, it's pathetic. 25 to 30 on average is disgusting. 30 to 35 is underwhelming. 35 to 40 is hitting the marker. 40 to 45 is great. 45 to 50 is fantastic. And 50 plus is basically perfect. Now, the Broncos are at 36.34. So that's on the lower to mid range of doing the job. It's nothing great. It's just hitting the marker. They're getting through the motions. They're not making a massive deal of meters through their sets, but at least they're hitting the marker of 35. Whilst the Panthers, they're at 41.85. So that's an extra 5, nearly 6 meters above where the Broncos are at, but they're in the great category from the probably more so just straight up mid-range of great category. So they're doing a good job hitting that 40 point for the great category and then pushing on through that 40 point, whilst the Broncos, they're really lackluster around that, kind of just hitting the marker and doing what they need to do, but it's about a 5 to 6 meter gap between the two on average set distance. Then you go to the run average play the ball speed, 3.3 seconds there for the Broncos, 3.14 seconds for the Panthers. This is really fast. Anything 3.29 and under is extremely fast. Anything 3.3 to 3.39 is just normal fast. 3.4 to 3.59 is pretty average. 3.6 to 3.79 is slow, and then 3.8 and above is extremely slow. Now, the Broncos are at 3.3, so they are on the cusp of extremely fast, but it's definitely in the fast category. And the Panthers at 3.14 seconds on the play the ball speed, that is very zippy. That is extremely fast, man. When you're getting down around that 3.1 to 3, that is extremely fast stuff. So the Broncos are actually getting done over here by the Panthers in a very similar game to how the Broncos do over other teams with their quick play the balls. Now, offloads-wise, 2-1, not many offloads in this game from either teams, and very similar. Forced dropouts is 1-0 Panthers. The Broncos actually did well with Reece Walsh to get away from making that 2-0 Panthers at one stage. Reece Walsh got out of the in goal, which was nice to watch there. Could have easily been taken in there, so that could have been way worse, but it does mean the Panthers are down there quite a bit and able to kick that ball into the range. Now, kick defusal is 62% for the Broncos, 60% for the Panthers, whatever. Effective tackle percentage here. Okay, now this is why I needed to wait for the effective tackle percentage here for the Broncos to get a good read, because this is very good. Collectively speaking, this is not what is included here. It is an individual statistic, an individual metric. Do not think of this as a collective. 89.06% here for the Broncos is actually really good. 85% and below is disgusting. 85% to 88% is underwhelming. 88% to 90% is hitting the marker, and 90% and above is basically perfect. Incredible first half. Broncos are at 89.06%. So that's actually really good. 236 tackles made for a whopping 26 missed tackles, but 3 ineffective. Now, the average missed tackles at halftime is 15 to 17. The average ineffective tackles is 6 to 7. So they're 3 underneath the lowest of the average there of 6 ineffective tackles for 3 ineffective tackles. That's very, very good. The missed tackles, though, of 26 is very, very bad. That's 15 to 17 is the average. They're at 26. That's 9 extra missed tackles than the highest of the averages. So overall, they've had 29 bad tackles in the half. Luckily, they're limiting those ineffectives, but those missed tackles are absolutely massive, but they're very similar to what the Panthers have as well, to be completely honest with you. But they've also made a whopping 62 more tackles than what the Panthers have at 174. So with 62 more tackles, they've still only missed 2 more tackles than the Panthers and had 2 more ineffective tackles. If that equaled out, the Panthers would actually be worse off than the Broncos, which is why when we cross over to the Panthers here, they're at 87.44%. So the Broncos, despite having more missed tackles and more ineffective tackles, they've made more tackles. That's why they're at 89.06. The Panthers are at 87.44. They're not even hitting the marker of 88%. They are underneath the marker. 174 tackles made, like I said, is 62 tackles less than what the Broncos are at. But they've missed 24 tackles, which is 7 more missed tackles than the average of the 15 to 17. And also the 1 ineffective tackle, which is incredible. That is 5 less ineffective tackles overall than the lowest of the average. That is actually basically perfect. That's an incredible stat. But it's just those missed tackles. Both teams, same here. Ineffective is really limited, but the missed tackles is really high. So both very similar. But because the Broncos have had to make a whopping 62 more tackles, that's why the Panthers are still quite significantly underneath where the Broncos are at, despite having similar enough stats there. So overall, the Broncos are doing quite well here and doing better defensively than the Panthers. They really are on an individual stat metric. Collectively, though, because the Panthers have had so much ball, they've been able to break through as a collective. And the Broncos defensively have come a guts a couple of times, right? So that's a very interesting stat to read there. The Broncos, they've just had to defend more, which is ultimately why they're down, which is coming down to their errors. So the reason why the Broncos are losing right now is due to their errors, which is an obvious thing to say, but the Broncos are a very well-known team, very similar to the Roosters, very similar to the Sharks, very similar in comparison to a lot of these teams at the top end of the table. Like we said on Friday night, the Storm, the Sharks, the Broncos, and the Panthers are all in the top 8 for most amount of errors this year. I think the Storm were 6th. The Storm might have been 5th. The Sharks were 4th. I think it was the Panthers at 6th and the Broncos at 8th or something like that. I think they were top 8 for the most errors in the competition this year. All 4 teams that are in the prelim finals, right? So they still know how to win games despite those errors. Just the Broncos really need to limit them in the second half. And then we go to the negative play, and this is a key telling point. So 4 and under is very good. 5 to 6 is an average amount of errors, and then 7 and above is very bad. Now both teams are making errors here. 7 errors from the Broncos is really, really poor. That is in the very bad category. That is poor, but that is something very quite typical with the Broncos. It's not a surprise here. And the Panthers are at 5, which is not great, but it's in that 5-6 category of average. It's also very not good from the Panthers, but these teams make errors. So do the Storm and so do the Sharks. So these teams are making errors, but they still know how to win these games. Broncos, 7 errors is really poor though. And then you go to the penalties conceded. 4 is not great for the Broncos. 2 is very good for the Panthers. Not too far separating there in regards to ill discipline, but the Broncos have been more ill-disciplined. It's not great for, but it's not awful. And with the Panthers, it's very good. Ruck infringements is 1-0 Panthers way, and then on report is 1-0 Broncos way. Ultimately speaking, the second half is about to start here, guys, so hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Ultimately speaking, I'm still tipping the Panthers from here 1-12, but I do think the Broncos will get back into this game again to break the same thing spoken about all stream long. Broncos the best second half team of the comp, not a great first half team. Panthers are the best first half team of the comp, not a great second half team. So please be careful about thinking this game is over. The Broncos have enough pace, enough energy, enough attack in them to score, but will the Panthers let them break them down? That's the biggest thing here. So that's the halftime stats there. Hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know your thoughts in the at halftime. Entertainer says, I seriously haven't felt this flat going into grand final ever. We prayed, we did everything we could. It won't be enough. Yeah, no, I couldn't really care less, man. At the end of the day, I want to see the 2 best teams in the grand final. Yeah, sure, I would have preferred another grand final, but ultimately the Broncos aren't done with yet, and I just enjoy rugby league, man. So if you're the best team, you deserve to be there. And right now, the Panthers are the best team, and so are the Storm. Ultimately, those 2 teams are in the grand final. As we currently speak, Broncos, you're not done with yet, but if that is the grand final, I respect it for what it is. I respect the competitiveness, and I respect the way that these teams have been able to put themselves back into the grand final again. So whilst I would have preferred something else and liked to see something else, ultimately I respect success. First tackle here for the Broncos, and they're going to get this ball here to the 15. Long way to go. Martha says, good commentary. Well done. Appreciate you, Martha. Mafia says, how well did Toilet Water play? Not great in the first half. He made quite a few mistakes, which is the problem that I said before the game started. That this Broncos team, if there's ever going to be a team that frustrates the living shit out of them, it is going to be the Panthers. And the Broncos, they need their plays to come off. They'll make a lot of plays. If they come off, they'll look like heroes and they'll absolutely kill teams with their pace and energy and their confidence and their momentum. But if they don't come off, they get frustrated and the Panthers are going to whack them in the stomach and really blow out there and give them that really winded feeling where they just can't get over the top of them. And that's where I feel like this game might get won here today, with the Broncos getting frustrated from not getting the opportunities that they would usually get against other teams. Now the Panthers and Dylan Edwards, he'll get this ball to 5 and he'll bring it out to the 10, the 15, he'll be first tackle. But Broncos, if you're going to win this game, you have to be the ones to score first here. If the Panthers score first, this is pretty much game over for mine. You need to establish the dominance of the second half, otherwise the Panthers will just go on with this. Second tackle here for the Panthers, and they will be at the 20? Yep. And they give it off here to Isaac Tungo at the 25, the 30 on third tackle. X-Factor says that one cannonball attempt at the legs was horrible penalty to give away. You have to look back at that if they only lose by 2 points. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. David says, we have no answers. Cleary's mastery of kick possession has taken our middles out of the game. Good running from the Panthers. I'll get this ball to the 45. Kick possession has taken our middles out of the game. Reynolds playing poorly because he's hampered by his injury. Mem is the key to unlocking our best game. I still think it's going to have to be Reece Walsh. Reece Walsh will grab this ball here at the 5. I do not think Reece Walsh and Adam Reynolds actually compete with each other in the team. I'm going to say ballsy comment there. I think that Reece Walsh really struggles to take control of this team and get them to the wins that they've received in this last 5 to 6 week span. With Adam Reynolds in the team, I feel like they really don't actually help each other out as much as they may have in 2023. I think that Adam Reynolds is actually detracting from the talent that we do see from Reece Walsh. personally. I do. I think that's what we've seen throughout most of this year, actually. And then when Ezra Mam and Adam Reynolds weren't there, that's when Reece exploded. But right-hand side here, Reece Walsh goes to the 40. Good run, fair tackle. Fair tackle at the 40. It was a good run, though, from the Broncos. And it's fair tackle, Jordan Ricky. Are you crazy? Okay, he gets the ball at the back, and now Reynolds kicks this through with a grubber, but it's going to be Edwards who picks this ball up. Nice little thought process there from Renault, just unfortunately hit it a little bit too hard, and then Edwards is now going to be giving it off to Alamotti, who's going to get into good field position at the 40. Again, hit or miss play. Broncos need it to hit. If it doesn't hit, they'll get frustrated. That was a miss, and now the Panthers have got into the attacking 50. It's second tackle. It doesn't end up being a good play, and just hurts the Broncos significantly. Brian he's going to get this ball here to the 40 on third tackle. Mac says if Panthers win, the NRL has a problem. No, every other team has a problem. And the problem is that every other team can't do good enough. You know, as a Titans fan, I'd love my team to do better, mate, but my team is shit house and we've got a lot to work on if we want to compete anywhere near this level, even though the Panthers were leading 24-0 against the Titans at half time, and the Titans were in last at the time, 24-0. Titans came back to 26-24 before there was controversy. So they are beatable. They are beatable, but teams just can't consistently beat them, and the Panthers know how to do it. That's a problem for everybody else. That's not a problem for the Panthers. It's not a problem for the NRL. It's a problem. Oh, no. Oh, no. Broncos knock the ball on. Panthers go right-hand side. Isaac Tungo. Alamotti gets back up. He's still going here. Pushes away. Oh, Broncos. Oh, it's that could be a killer. Panthers 0 tackle, 7 metres out. That could be the crusher of your season. Dylan Edwards now, he's 8 metres away. He gives it off into Isaiah Papali'i. Dylan Edwards goes to the left. He gives it underneath to Casey McLean. And Casey McLean is going to be 7 metres out from the line, first tackle. Broncos, this is so crucial that you defend this set. This is so crucial you defend this set right now. Nathan Cleary goes left-hand side. Isaiah Papali'i 2 metres away from the line, second tackle. Papali'i rolls back to Mitch Kenny. Mitch Kenny out to Nathan Cleary. Cleary sends back onto the inside. Second tackle, gives it off to Isaiah Yeo. This is good scramble defense for the Broncos right now. Isaiah Yeo, who will be 10 metres away on third tackle. Third tackle. Back to Mitch Kenny. Mitch Kenny goes to the left. He gives it off to Liam Henry. And Henry is going to be fourth tackle, 2 metres away. Massive defensive set here, Bronx. Mitch Kenny, Blaze Salangi, hits the grass. Brian Tuttle picks it up at the 10. He cuts us back into the centre. This is good scramble defense from the Broncos. They're not allowing the Panthers to get their attack fluidity going, but there's numbers here. Nathan Cleary goes at himself, and that's great defense, Broncos. Great defense, Broncos. Very good defense. Max says, boring, you're boring. Michael says, be water, flow like water. I don't even know what you're talking about. Dean Mariner, ooh, maybe a high tackle here. No, they won't call it. He does go down on his knees. Oh, they are going to call a very late penalty. Grant, I think you've done that for the service of the game. I don't believe that he believed that was a penalty. I think that he's bit into Mariner here. It is a high tackle, though. It is the correct call, but I don't think Grant Atkins wanted to call it. I don't think he did. So it is a correct. Maybe he's gotten a conversation from the bunker there. It was a high tackle, but I don't think Grant Atkins originally wanted to call that. Monkey Boy tries to 26-20 Panthers win, sticking with my original prediction. I think that's a bit too many points in the second half, but there's a world. The way this game has gone so far, the only way. I think if this game is a 26-20, I think you've got Broncos winning, mate. I think from here, if we're seeing the Broncos score 20 points at the minimum, that means that they're scoring bulk points. That means they can get 26, and I could see them. That means that they would have been the better team in the second half, which I would lean towards saying that prediction would be a Broncos 26-20 prediction. Here we go. How much Masaki has his ball to the 30. Now the 25 third tackle. Okay, big attack and set here, Bronx. Big attack and set. It's 6 again. Massive attack and set here. Ben Hunt to Ezra Mem, 25 metres out. And it's going to be Xavier Willison knocked down here at the 24. They'll go right inside. Ben Hunt to Payne Haas. Haas to Adam Reynolds. Adam Reynolds here will be 18 metres out. Second tackle. I expect the Broncos to be down here a lot this second half. Ben Hunt, he'll give it out to Hetherington. Payne Haas. 5 metres out. Third tackle. Payne Haas, 5 metres out. Third tackle here. Ben Hunt, he'll go short to Xavier Willison. Good tackle there from Isaiah Yeo, I think it was. Yeah, it was. 4 tackle, 4 metres out from the line. Ben Hunt, he'll give it out he fakes it to Ezra Mam, gives it to Adam Reynolds. Adam Reynolds kicks it through. Chance here for the Broncos! Try time, Tony Staggs. Massive try here with the Broncos. 14-4 with the get to come. This game is exactly what we thought it was going to be. Exactly what we thought it was going to be. Buck, I can tell you as an Eels fan that you're just really trying to pick out the Panthers today because this game has been refereed quite well. At the end of the day, I understand that you don't like the Panthers, man, but we don't need to be hearing you talking about this ruck speed because both teams are pretty much competing at the exact same ruck speed with a Panthers ruck speed in the first half of being an average play the ball speed of 3.78, the Broncos at 3.39, but that's gone from a 3.3 at half time. At the end of the day, mate, they're both competing at a very similar rate ruck speed-wise, so I don't know why you're specifically trying to pick out the Panthers here. Ultimately, the Broncos will score here to make it a 10-point game, and it should be an 8-point game any moment now. Ben says, TRY Tri-Time Bronx. Again, Buck, appreciate you for tuning in and appreciate you for getting around it. But at the end of the day, it's very clear Penrith bias that you have to be only picking out the one team that is on a similar metric right now to how the other team is competing too. But you don't want to look at that. You want to look at that because you don't like that team in comparison to that team. It's really that simple right now based off of the stats. So the Broncos, Katoni Staggs, will score right next to the post, and it's about to be an 8-point game. Jared's big breather there for you, Bronx. Absolutely, especially with that knock on from the Broncos inside their own defensive 10, inside the defensive 10. Then the Panthers get the ball back. They defend well. They keep him out, and then the Broncos got the other end of the field and score straight away. Sando says it's happening. Well, this is how we called the game. This is how we called the game. And this is why I was so confused when the Cast Patrol, 1 second, Reece Walsh, oh my gosh, he nearly missed that kick from basically in front, but he gets it. 14-6 here, 31.5 minutes to go of the game. The Cast Patrol put out a post today. I love the Cast boys, it's not slander or anything like that. But they put out a post where it's like the script was written that the Broncos would win the first half and the Panthers would come back in the second half, but the Broncos would win. But that's the opposite to what these two teams play like. I didn't understand why that post was made there ultimately because it was completely the opposite to what we were expecting. So this game is happening exactly how we're expecting right now. Can the Broncos get back past a 14-point deficit? It's going to be close. If the Panthers score again right now, that'll be a crusher. But for the time being, the Broncos can work off of this momentum. They can capitalise on this right now. But Dean Mariner grabs this ball in the in goal. It's a good kick there for the Panthers. And Payne Haas, he'll run this ball back here to the 10. It's going to be first tackle. Jordan says, go to Broncos. Jay says, 47 minutes later. Yep, Jordan Rookie, he's going to get this ball now to the 18 on second tackle. There is 30 minutes to go here of the game, guys. 30 minutes to go. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. And do me a favour and go subscribe to BKRtravel in that pinned comment. Support our travel venture as well. They go third tackle of the Broncos. And it's going to be Hetherington who gets his ball to the 40 on fourth tackle. Ben Hunt, he'll go to the left to Payne Haas, and Payne Haas at the 45 gives it to Reece Walsh. Reece Walsh here. This is more of the Broncos that we know. Fit tackle at the 47. Arkman getting around the Broncos. Reece Walsh is going to whack that ball up. And that's a huge kick. Oh, it's a good take from Edwards under pressure, which is something that he hasn't been able to do in recent weeks. There's a man with a great chase, but Dylan Edwards does come up clutch over the top of him. Dylan Edwards recently in this third part of the season, the back third after Origin, he really has struggled making critical errors and critical moments at the back. So that was a huge way to go and win this game by just grabbing a simple ball like that because he hasn't been doing that a lot recently. Lost the game against the Raiders on his back in a lot of ways from his mistakes. Lost the game against the Storm on his back in a lot of ways because of his mistakes. And made a couple of mistakes in that Dragons game late as well, which didn't mean anything, but ultimately it was the same thing. So Edwards has really got to be safe at the back here in this back 30, otherwise they will lose this game. Nathan Cleary, that was a good start for him to not do that. Cleary is going to whack that ball into the corner. Are the Panthers going to still keep playing the same style of footy that they usually play? Or are they going to go into ultra defensive mode here in a preliminary final at Suncorp? First tackle for the Broncos there at the 15. Ezra Mam goes left-hand side of Shibasaki. You can see there's just momentum here at the moment. Second tackle at 28. Ezra Mam, he's going to go to the right-hand side to just Dean Mariner. And Dean Mariner is going to be at the 35 on third tackle. Grant Atkins don't buy into the milking right now. Adam Reynolds with a good kick here. Oh, I don't think that's the 20. It's the 23. Yeah, no, it's a great kick from Ben Hunt, but it's not going to be 40-20. Oh, geez, that was close. Oh, that would have been absolutely gigantic, but that is going to go to the 22, and the Panthers will get it. Edwards was completely out of position there. Great work there from Ben Hunt to realise where the fullback was, but it was out before. He's got that spot on there, the touchy. He's got that ball spot on. Geez, that was close. Geez, that was close. All right, Brian. He's going to get this ball to the 25 on first tackle. That would have been a monumentous game changer. And great run. Oh, Blaze Salongi knocks the ball on. And this is what we're on for, guys. Broncos 0 tackle at the 45. This is how the game was expected to go. And it just comes down if the Broncos can get back from 14 points down against the Panthers. 6 again here for Brisbane. Xavier Willison at the 30. The inexperience there of Blaze Salungi. The inexperience of Blaze Salungi right there. Xavier Willison on 0 tackle again. They get another 6 again of Payne Haas. He'll get this ball to the 28 in first tackle. Monkey Muay Thai is horrible from Talangi. Absolutely horrible. Ben Hunt now. Hetherington slips over at the 25, second tackle. Massive attacking set here for Brisbane. Massive defensive set here for the Panthers. Left-hand side to Ezra Mam. Ezra Mam goes at himself. He's going to be 15 metres away. How funny would this be? Oh, Ezra Mam's lost the ball. Oh, they're going to say it's a penalty. They want to challenge this here. I don't think you challenge this. I think this is the correct. Don't go for the 2 here. Don't do what the Sharks did. Don't do what the Sharks did. Yeah, ultimately, that is a helping hand. Don't go over the 2 here. It'll be what the Sharks did. This is it would be a 6-point game. I think you ride the momentum here, Broncos. Ride the momentum. Ride the momentum. Don't go over the 2. And I don't think they are. Good stuff. Ride the momentum, Broncos. And that's what they're going to do. 17 metres out. Yun says, that's it, Broncos. We go all the way. We've got a long way to get back into this game, but a try here will be massive. First tackle here for the Brisbane Broncos, 10 metres out. The Panthers need to try and get this crowd out of the game. It's so significant for the Brisbane Broncos right now. Adam Reynolds gives it off to Jordan Ricky. Another awful run from Ricky. Still don't know why he gets a crack. Second tackle now, 10 metres away from the line. Ben Hunt goes left-hand side. Luke Garner's in trouble in the back play. Left-hand side, Ezra Mam. Ezra Mam. Oh, he should have passed that ball. They had numbers galore, but it'll be third tackle for the Broncos, 8 metres away from the line. How's Luke Garner doing in back play? Is he up yet? Is he up yet? He is. Adam Reynolds now gives it off here to Hetherington, and Hetherington is 8 metres out. This crowd's wild. Fourth tackle now. Hetherington gives it to Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt the back of Payne Haas. Payne Haas is going to slowly go to himself. Then he passes it right. Broken down play. Adam Reynolds to Reece Walsh. If you want a broken down play, this is the guy you want the ball in the hands of. And he gets away from one, but he's taken down at the end. Fifth tackle, 13 metres away. Crazy finish we've got coming up here in this game, guys. Fifth tackle, Ben Hunt, Ezra Mam, left-hand side. Gets this ball across here. Not the play from Ezra Mam, no. No, sorry, Ezra Mam. That's not the play. You just put Gehamachi Bisaki under so much pressure there. He's lucky that he even held onto the ball in the first place. That was great defense there from Isaac Tungo. Held his line very, very well. Makes the tackle on Shibasaki, and Ezra Mam broke that play down, in my opinion. Paul Anamotti now. First tackle's going to get this ball here to the 10. Bread Pudding says, come on the Bronx. I don't need another Panthers grand final all over again. Whoever makes it into the grand final, I respect it. Brian Todd, oh, he gets his ball to the 15. Second tackle. Jack says Panthers ruck antics are out of control. Both ruck antics. It's quite funny that they're both at a similar rate right now. Blaze Salungi at the 30. Third tackle. I feel like people are just trying to harshly judge the Panthers based off of their dislike of the Panthers, because at the end of the day, the Broncos and the Panthers are having a pretty similar play the ball speed, which is showing that the ruck is pretty much the same for both of these teams. Wow, that's a weird pass from Edwards, but it gets to Cleary. Leota, Liam Martin, he gets away from Shibasaki. No, Shibasaki stays on. They're going to be fifth tackle now at the 40. Good run there from Liam Martin. 23 wise, the Common Broncos kick the heads off the Panthers. They go to the right-hand side, and Nathan Cleary whacks that ball up. Might be a penalty here. No, he said it's cleared. Grant Atkins said it was cleared, and now Reece Walsh will be taken down here at the 10. Biffo! 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 Well, you got to stop the game, you referee. Referee, you've got to stop the game. Referee, you've got to stop the game. Hello? There is a Biffo, Grant Atkins. Get the fucking control of the game here, Atkins. Get control of the game. My gosh, Grant Atkins. They have literally run directly back into it. We always see that stop the play there. Nathan Cleary kicks it. Ezra Mam tackles him. That's fine. Cleary takes exception to it. Ezra Mam shoves him. There might be something from this. Liam Martin comes in. We might see bins here. But Grant Atkins, get control of the game here. You had to stop that play when the biff was happening. You allowed it to play on. That is bullshit from Grant Atkins. Get control of the game here, referee. You've got to get control of the game there. You can't allow that to play on just then. And there's a big decision here. We might be seeing bins. We may be about to see some bins here. Liam Martin comes in. Ezra Mam to the shove. Nathan Cleary shoving as well. Liam Martin might get binned here. Liam Martin's going to get binned. Oh, it's just a penalty. Yeah, I think that's a bin from Liam Martin. I think that's a beneficial call to the Panthers. He's come in there. I don't think that Cleary gets binned. I don't think that Ezra Mam gets binned. But Liam Martin only getting penalised there is pretty poor. Ezra Mam and Nathan Cleary should never have been getting bin, but Liam Martin ran in. That should be a sin bin every day of the week. Matt Lee's Cleary punch. Stop it. Stop it. It was not a Cleary punch. They both shoved each other there. But Liam Martin should have been banned. Geez, this atmosphere at Suncorp is massive right now. Massive. Huge. All right, Broncos. They're 35 metres out. First tackle. First tackle. They go to the right-hand side. It's Ben Hunt, Adam Reynolds. Okay, massive attack. And Payne Haas. Oh, he's trying to get the offload away. Couldn't get it. Second tackle here for Brisbane. Oh, my gosh. We've got a crazy 24 minutes to come in this game. Adam Reynolds gives it off here to Ezra Mam, and Ezra Mam's 20 metres out from the line. Third tackle. These are the two teams that have given us the best games in this competition this year. Panthers Storm, Panthers Raiders, Panthers Titans, Panthers Bulldogs earlier on as well. Broncos Raiders, Broncos Sharks, Broncos heaps of teams. Like it's been a really exciting season from both these teams. Right hand side, no! He kicks it out in the full. Just take the tackle there, Dean Mariner, but he kicks the ball out and it's going to be Panthers ball to 10. Not the play from Mariner. It's 4 tackle, mate. You still had another tackle in hand. Just go down, take the tackle. Don't make that play. Just take the tackle. But anyway, 10 minutes, I said the NRL has problems. Well, that is an issue in regards to that no sin bin. That is an issue because Liam Martin does run in there. I think Clear and Ezra are fine, but then Liam Martin escalates, which is why it should have been a bin. But ultimately, the Broncos couldn't do what they needed to do with that attack and set, but they are well in this game. Second tackle here for the Panthers at 30. Second half possession. Remember when I said the Broncos to win this game need to get to the 52% marker at a minimum? Well, they're at 60% in the second half and 40% for the Panthers, which means that they're pretty much getting up to probably around that 48% mark now. What's the possession? It's 47%, so it's pretty close. 47%. They need to win this game, they need to get up by about 4 more percent. Mitch Kenny, this is a great set here from the Panthers. They're 30 metres away from the line, 23 minutes to go here of the game. That's going to be a knock-on from Mitch Kenny. They're going to challenge this. I don't know what the call's going to be. I'm pretty certain he's just lost that ball. I think he's just lost that ball. Are they going to challenge it? They are going to challenge it. They are going to challenge it. Peppy One says the grasshopper Barry Gomesaw refereeing style. Let the biff go on and continue play. It absolutely should have been stopped earlier on, but anyway, Grant Atkins also probably makes the wrong call. It does make the wrong call in regards to Liam Martin not getting binned, but I think that they don't want to. That's just lost ball there. Why is he challenging that? Why is Mitch Kenny challenging that ball, that play? It's a lost challenge here on the Panthers. 22.5 minutes to go here of the game. There's no raking. This is a straight up just knock on. Oh, actually, that angle's not great. No, it is. It's fine. Yeah, Pierre Kura is just making a tackle. His hand is on the ball and it comes off and his hand goes like this, but I don't think he's stripping the ball there. I think this is the correct call. Challenge unsuccessful against the Panthers. 23 Hawaii says, on my days we're selling it. Just take the tackle, mate, and kick it up for Payne or someone to at least score. This is going to be a crazy finish here. The Panthers need to find a way to get the Broncos crowd out of this game, otherwise they will lose this game. If the Broncos can continue with the momentum with this crowd, if the Panthers just need to try and find a way to take this crowd out of it, get some just, even if it's 2 points, realistically, it doesn't make sense score-wise to make it a 10-point game, but like just any kind of points will take this crowd out of it really significantly. But right now, the Broncos can really use this momentum, but they're just not doing enough when it gets in, and this is what we said before the game. Can they come back from 14? Can they come back from 3 scores? I didn't think so. Ezra Mam steps on the inside, though. They're going to be 35 metres out for tackle. Awesome crowd today, Bad Daddy says. Yep, it was always going to be the way. Preliminary final, Suncorp Stadium against a team that they lost in the grand final to in heartbreaking fashion a couple of years ago. A chance to break the streak. Geez, this would be an insane turn of events for the Broncos to still find a way to win this game. They go to the right-hand side. Adam Reynolds, he'll kick that ball over the top here on fit tackle. Brian Toho under pressure. That's a fantastic catch. And I tell you what, the Storm are loving this. They're going to have an extra 2 days rest going into the grand final, and these two teams are going at it with each other right now. This is physical. This is exciting. This is taking a lot of energy away, plus they've got that 2 day extra advantage. I'm telling you, the Storm will be loving this right now. The Storm will be loving the way this game is going. If the Panthers make it in, the Broncos are tiring them out right now and really going hard with an extra 2 days. Storm would love this. Lindsay Smith is going to get this ball here to the 45. All right, so the right-hand side, the Panthers will give it off here to Nathan Cleary, and Cleary is going to kick this ball down into the corner, but it will be Reece Walsh picks up to the 13. He gives it off here to Dean Mariner, and Mariner now is going to get this ball to the 20. The 23 will be first tackle. Jeanette Towers, I think Grant Atkins has officiated the game well so far. I agree. I mean, much better than Klein. I agree. Grant Atkins has been fantastic for the most part. Do think Liam Martin should have been binned. Do think that he needed to stop that play and get control of the game. But overall, I think Grant Atkins has been pretty good in this game, especially compared to Ashley Klein in general. And I think that he deserves, currently speaking, of the grand final next week. Third tackle now to 35 for the Broncos. 20 minutes to go here of the preliminary final, guys. Whoever wins goes to play the Storm in the grand final next week. 20 minutes to go. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you are new around here. And Brian To'o will grab his ball to 20. He'll bring it back out here to the 30. And Brian To'o will be 32 metres out here from his own line. Trying to get 40,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Let's get it. First tackle now. And Dylan Edwards, second tackle. He's going to be at the 35. 20 minutes left. 23 Wise says, you guys did the same thing against the Raiders and made a comeback, so we just need to do something and break this losing streak against the Panthers. Yeah, well, this game has gone exactly to expectation right now. Exactly to expectation. Panthers now, Moses Leota at the 45. Full tackle. They'll go left-hand side to Isaiah Yeo. Isaiah Yeo at the 40. Nathan Cleary, Lindsay Smith, quick passing. Blaze Alungi at the 30, the 25. Fit tackle. Fit tackle. And now Mitch Kenny gives it back here to Nathan Cleary. Where's his kick going? It's an attacking ranging kick. Isaac Tungo. Oh, escort maybe. Penalty escort. Yep. Correct call. You have the opportunity here to take a risk and make it a 10-point game, which doesn't really benefit the score in a lot of ways, but you have the ability here to take the crowd out of it, but I do think they'll go for the try. No, you don't challenge this. Ezra Mam has backed up into the play. Isaac Tungo's been taken out. This is a penalty. This is an escort. That is dumb from Ezra Mam. Ezra Mam is literally sidestepping into the play. He's not looking at the player, but we all know what he's doing here. This is an unsuccessful challenge and a penalty to the Panthers. But I just want to say the Panthers could be ballsy here and take a 2, which doesn't benefit the score specifically, but takes the crowd out of it. Or they just go straight for the try. This is a dumb challenge from the Broncos. It's an escort. That was the most blatant lost challenge. Like Mitch Kenny with a dumb challenge to the Panthers and Ezra Mam with a dumb challenge here for the Broncos. You couldn't have asked for 2 dumber challenges from both these teams. You couldn't have asked for a more fitting way for the Broncos to lose their challenge after the stupidity of Mitch Kenny. You've now seen Ezra Mam double down and get even worse. So the Panthers are going for the try here. That's interesting. I probably would have expected them to go for the 2. Because of what I was saying before, but they're going to go for the try, and it would be massive. Cooper Cronk's saying the same thing as me. Cooper Cronk's agreeing with what I'm saying. Lindsay Smith now, he's going to get this ball to the 5. If they score here, how do the Broncos come back? I don't know. If the Panthers score here, I think the Broncos can't come back. Nathan Cleary gets it off to Isaac Tungo. This would be an ISA. You need to defend this with your life for your season right now, Brisbane. Third tackle, 10 metres away from the line. Nah, Olivia, the referee's been great. The only thing that we disagree with is it's a knock on Panthers. Huge defense, Broncos. Olivia is saying it from a Broncos perspective right now. We promise you, the referee, Grant Atkins, has been quite well regarded today. He's been quite good. The only thing I disagree with was no bin for Liam Martin. Outside of that, Grant Atkins has done pretty well in this game. I just think that he needed to get control of the game there, stop the game, plus also he needed to send Liam Martin to the bin, but he didn't do that. Ultimately, that's the only decision that most people will disagree with. Broncos fans will try and pick out something else, but overall, Grant Atkins has done much better today than, say, Ashley Klein has, and overall this game has been pretty well officiated for the most part. Third tackle for the Broncos at the 20, and Broncos will knock the ball on to play the ball. Oh, well, it's either a knock on Panthers or a knock on Broncos, referee. Well, it's either a Panthers knock on or a Broncos knock on there, referee, and I'd lean more with the Broncos knock on there. Fit tackle, Broncos at 35. Well, as I was just circle jerking and glazing Grant Atkins, he's gone and made a baffling call where no one got benefited from something just then that someone should have benefited from. So it's Panthers now at the 40 on first tackle. What just happened? Says Broncos would have benefited more with Mam in the bin. Yeah, Mam hasn't been great. His second tackle here at the 50. They go right-hand side. They give it off here to Polo Alamotti. And Alamotti will be the 44. Third tackle. 17 minutes to go here in the preliminary final. Mitch Kenny will go to Lindsay Smith. Lindsay Smith now will be at the 35. And it'll be 4 tackle back at the 40. Jeez, they're still pushing it back here. Just as I've said positivity, he's making a few odd calls. And now Panthers will be at the 35. He called Heldon, allowed them to push him back another 8 metres. Nathan Cleary is going to kick this ball up into the corner. It's no real chase there from the Panthers. No escort from the Broncos, which is a good start for him. And now Reece Walsh gets the ball from a Katapani offload, and he'll take this ball at the 13. First tackle First tackle, Nofos is Klein as shit house. Clueless ref. I'm not going to disagree with you there at all. He gave 18 penalties away in that game with the Shark Storm. I think the Sharks and Storm were both ill-disciplined, but that is a lot of penalties, which means he's not allowing the game to flow. There was a couple of really critical calls in that game that we all disagreed with as well, but overall, he's just... The game is all about Ashley Klein. The game is all about Ashley Klein and he's refereeing! Isaac Tungo has whacked Ezra Man, but he gets away. He'll beat the 40 on fit tackle. Isaac Tungo, you could see him just aiming it up, but he couldn't get the big enough hit there to make a statement. Now, Reece Walsh rushes the kick, 40-20 attempt, but Dylan Edwards will get this ball to 20, 25, 30. He runs his ball back to the left-hand side. He's going to try and get it. There's enough defense. Oh, he's found a gap. Oh, taking out the 35. Good last-ditch defense there from Jordan Ricky. Yeah, I agree with Cooper Cronk here. The Panthers have just held it enough and not doing stupid decisions. They're not going into all defensive mode right now. They're playing a pretty similar style of footy to how they did in the first half, but on a more defensive level. They're not just going the all balls to the wall defense. They didn't get pressured. They didn't stress out. They didn't capitulate when the Broncos had that heavy momentum. They were able to defend them, and now the Panthers have the ability to break the game away. Right now is Yo, the 30, the 25, the 20, the 15. Good tackle by Reece Walsh. You just saved your season. 4 tackle, 15 metres out here for the line with the Panthers. They go to the left-hand side, Mitch Kenny, Nathan Cleary, this could be it. 4 tackle, Blaze Salungi, Casey McLean at the 10, at the 5. Fit tackle here for the Panthers. Good scrambled defense from the Broncos. Good scrambled defense. Nathan Cleary, 11 metres out. He grubbers it through. Play that there for the Broncos, and that's 6 again for the Panthers. That's 6 again for the Panthers. 5 metres out. First tackle, now they're going to go into a real slow mode. You can see that by Cleary. He's showing he's intending to the rest of his teammates. He's the captain. By his slow play the ball there, he's saying, just play it through. Don't do anything silly. Just keep it simple. We don't need to score, but if we do score, it's amazing. He's going to slow the play the ball down right now. The Panthers, Mitch Kenny, out of the left-hand side. Nathan Cleary. Cleary goes left-hand side. Nearly broke their hearts again. Third tackle, 3 metres out. Third tackle, 3 metres out. Probably should have been a 6 again there. If anyone's talking about slow play the balls, that was based off that ruck. Right-hand side was Yo, and Yo is going to be 5 metres away from the line, 4 tackle. 5 metres away from the line, 4 tackle. Mitch Kenny out of the left. Nathan Cleary. Cleary gives it off out the back to Blaze Talungi. Talungi steps back. Lindsay Smith. They might have numbers here. Moses Leota. He's at the 10, and he's going to be taken down 5 metres away from the line. Fit tackle. Fit tackle, rolls it back, Mitch Kenny out of the left-hand side, Nathan Cleary, he's going to kick it through, play that there, Broncos will get the balls, drop out. Well, drop out coming up here from the Broncos. They're going to have to look at short, they're going to have to go short. Nova says, do you do other sports or just the league? Just curious. We do NBA. We've got cricket coming up in the Ashes and whatnot. We've also got the International Rugby League coming up in a couple of weeks after the grand final as well. Papua New Guinea, Fiji and Cook Islands in the Pacific Bowl. New Zealand, Samoa and Tonga in the Pacific Cup. And then plus we've also got the Australia versus England Ashes series. Beautiful day there in Brisbane when you look over the top of Suncorp. But yeah, we've got a couple of sports doing up. But we've also got the BKRtravel channel in the pinned comment where we're doing a lot of travel content. I'm in Vietnam as we speak. So 13.5 minutes to go here in this game. Payne Haas bleeding out of the right of his eye. Broncos, you have to start considering going short here. The risk is worth it at this point. And they will try and kick it to the sideline. It won't work out there for the Broncos. I get the risk. Casey McLean gets away from it. Broncos, if you concede here, your season is not over. You are not coming back from 3 scores down with 13 minutes to go in this game. You need to defend this with your life. You can come back from 8 points. You can't come back from 14 points down against the 4-time reigning premiers, going on 5 premiers in a row if they get this win and beat the Storm next week. Second tackle, Nathan Cleary, right-hand side, Dylan Edwards. Edwards gives it out to Isaac Tungo. Isaac Tungo taking it out of the 5. Third tackle. Great tackle, Shibasaki. He didn't have a great first half, Shiba, but he's been a lot better in the second half. They go to the left-hand side. Dylan Edwards at the 10. Then off to Nathan Cleary. Cleary off to Yo at the back here. Great rush-up defense there from Adam Reynolds. Otherwise, they were away. 4 tackle, back at the 20. Good defense here from the Broncos. They go to the left-hand side off to Nathan Cleary. Cleary at the 10. He gets it on the back to Luke Garner. Fit tackle at the 5. This has been good defense in their 20, which is what I said pre-game. Broncos are very good defensively in their own 20. They kick it through. Great play from the Broncos. And they'll get the ball to 10. First tackle. Defense, he's saving your bacon right now, Brisbane. And this is why I said pre-game, the Broncos and the Panthers are two of the best defensive teams in their own defensive 20 in the competition. And that's why this is shaping up as this is why this game has been so great. The Panthers haven't been able to break it away despite opportunities. The Broncos haven't been able to get back into it despite opportunities. This game is really being controlled in that defensive 20 by both these teams right now. They go to the right-hand side, Brisbane. They'll give it out the back now to Adam Reynolds. Adam Reynolds all the way at the back. Is that 6 again? That is touched. 6 again over the Broncos. And it's going to be Tony Staggs. Staggs hit the 45, the 50, the 45. Oh, he's taken down last second there. 0 tackle because I think it's a knock on. It is. So 0 tackle over the Broncos at the 45. They go to the left-hand side to Reece Walsh. Adam Reynolds now. Back underneath now to Tyson Smoothie. And Smoothie first tackle here at the 40. And they roll it back here to Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt across here to Adam Reynolds. Adam Reynolds is going to go to the left-hand side. Ezra Mam. Ezra Mam not being great today. First tackle at the 32. 11 minutes to go. First tackle, they go to the right. This has been a great game, Jared Farmoni. Probably one of the best prelims in the last few years. I agree. This has been an incredibly high-intense game. Second tackle, Ben Hunt. No, that was, I think it was Ben Hunt. Now they're going to be 11 metres out from the line. Third tackle, Xavier Willison. Broncos, this is your chance right now. The Panthers have been camped down. You're around. They go left-hand side. Oh, it's been stopped. It's been stopped. The Broncos will score. Xavier Willison scores. They're in. They're in. And we're about to be a 2-point game, lads. We're about to see a 2-point game. Very lucky try here for Brisbane. The Panthers will knock this ball down. Xavier Willison finds the ball in his hands. He picks it up and he will score next to the post. 14-10, kick to come. Broncos should make this kick to make it a 2-point game. Oh my gosh, here we go, lads. 10 minutes to go of the game. 10 minutes to go of the game. Hit that like button and subscribe. It is a 14-10 game. The Broncos have scored. Oh boy, here we go. Game on, Jimmy. This is rugby league, folks. This is why we love this game. Too much Ezra, not enough Reece. Exactly right, Luke. And that was the problem with Ezra and Adam Reynolds when they're playing. Reece wasn't able to be the guy that we know he can be. When they've come back in, it's very clearly been that way because when Reece Walsh has been able to play with Billy Walters and Ben Hunt and Corey Pakes, he's been absolutely crushing it. Today, Reece has been limited. But there we go. The Broncos will score. It's a 14-10 game. And that's why the Panthers taking that 2 could have been... It was absolutely crucial. The Panthers taken that 2 to make it a 16-6 game. It's a 10-point game, but now it would have taken out the 2-point potential. Nathan Cleary goes to the intercept there, knocks it on. Broncos get the ball and score. We might be seeing the Broncos coming back like the Panthers came back on the Broncos in 2023. This is the showdown, son. And this is the moment. This is where the players get made. This is where the GOATs get made. In situations like this, being able to win these games, Reece Walsh should get this kick. 9.5 minutes to go. 9.5 minutes to go. Mark Abrams from Philippines. Go Broncos. Get around in the Philippines, mate. Reece Walsh. Oh, my God. He's missed the kick. Oh, my God, Reece. Oh, Reece. That is horrific. Oh, Reece. That is horrific. You might have just cost your season. You would have only been down by 2 points. You would have only been down by a 2-point penalty or a 2-point field goal. And from basically in front, he has just missed the kick, which he nearly missed the kick in the first place from the first try. Oh, that's such a blow because now the Broncos must score a try. They are still in this, Bad Daddy. Absolutely. Broncos still in this still. But 2 points is so significant. They can get a 2-point field goal or they can get a 2-point penalty. Now they are forced to have to score a try here against a resilient Penrith defense. Let's see. Slavis is too busy looking at his fingernails. Well, the Panthers here at the 59 minutes to go in the game. Comment in the chat right now, guys. Do the Broncos find a way to win this game or do the Panthers find a way to hold it out? Do you think extra time is coming? Comment it in the chat. This is going to be a fiery last 9 minutes this game, potentially extra time. Second tackle for the Broncos at the 30. Second tackle. Clippy Wooden says breathtaking kick. How exactly? I just can't believe he's done that. And there's no captain's challenges left, by the way, guys. Obviously, both these teams have lost their challenge. Third tackle now for the Broncos at the 40. Right-hand side, Ben Hunt gives it to Smoothie, then to Payne Haas, and Payne Haas is going to be at the 50 on fourth tackle. The Panthers scored the first 2 tries of the game. The Broncos have scored the next 2 tries of the game. Staggs cut down by Casey McLean. Looked like he was about to get away. They roll it back to Staggs, then off to Dean Mariner. Reece Walsh puts that up. Pretty basic kick here. They might allow the Broncos to grab it. They do. They get it out the back now to Smoothie, who kicks it. And that might work out well if it sits up, if it sits up, if it sits up. Oh, that is beautiful stuff. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Talangi has done the dumbest thing I've ever seen, but he's gotten away with it. Holy shit, I cannot believe what we've just seen from Blaze Talangi. The Panthers have gotten out of the in goal, but that was the dumbest thing ever. And Cooper Cronk's having a heart attack on the commentary right now. The courage, that is the bravest thing ever. You get, I trade you as a coach. If you throw that ball and the Broncos score there to win the game out of the post, and then there's a mistake there, I'm trading you before the end of the game. Not next season, not in the off season. I'm trading you now. I'm deregistering your contract. I'll pay you. I don't care. But it came off and Edwards breaks away to get out of the in goal, which saves a lot of the game. But if I'm the coach, Ivan Cleary, when we get into those sheds, I'm telling you to wake your shit up. But then again, it worked out well. It's just such a hit or miss play, which could have ended up in them losing their season. Second tackle here at the 40. But again, it was a hit play, and it did work out, but it's just way too risky. So third tackle here at the 45. Jeez, what a moment, but what a moment. Big hero zero play. Big hero zero play. Reece Walsh, fourth tackle at the halfway point. You're up there's no need to do that at all. So lucky. Well, there wasn't a need to do it. It was just a big risk, man. Just a big risk. There was, you can do it, but it's just such too big a risk. Adam Reynolds is going to kick that ball. Not a great kick, because I think it's going to be Edwards who gets it easy. He does. Yeah, it wasn't a great kick there from Adam Reynolds. It just set up there for Edwards to grab it at the 5, and now the Panthers are just in ultra defensive mode. Just don't make silly mistakes. Broncos, they just need to keep him down here, man. They just need to keep him down here. 6.5 minutes to go here of the game. 4 points the difference. Should have been 12, but Reece Walsh missed an easy kick. Edwards is 15 metres out. The Panthers, you just really need to not make a mistake. Paul Alamotti, he's going to get this ball to the 20. 22 metres out. The Storm are loving this game right now. It's taken a whole bunch of energy out of the winner, whether it be the Panthers or the Broncos. Nathan Cleary to Isaiah Papali'i. Papali'i to Isaac Tungo. Tungo steps back onto the inside. He's 38 metres out. Fit tackle. Here we go. 6 minutes and 2 seconds to go here of the game. Nathan Cleary, he's going to kick this ball across field, which is quite interesting, but it's going to be there'll be Dean Mariner who grabs it and brings it out to the 38. Here we go, Broncos. 5 minutes 50 to go here of the game. You need to score. A converted try wins you the game. Or, well, not necessarily, but it takes you into the lead. A non-converted try probably sends us to extra time. And do you ever want to see Nathan Cleary as the guy you're going up against in extra time in a finals game? Absolutely goddamn not. He is the best field goal taker in the competition. He can kick it from literally anywhere. Ask me. I'm a Titans fan. I know all about it. Third tackle for the Broncos. They give it to Payne Haas. Payne Haas now at the 45. He rolls it out the back here. And the Broncos hit the ball to 50. This is one of the best prelims we've seen in a very, very long time. Fourth tackle, Adam Reynolds goes out to the left-hand side, gives it off to Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt to Ezra Mann. Ezra Mann to Ben Talty. No, Corey Jensen, sorry. And fifth tackle at the 40. Corey Jensen rolls it back to Ben Hunt. Adam Reynolds back onto the inside here. Hetherington, Payne Haas. Knock on there, I think, from the Panthers. It is. It's going to be Broncos ball at the 28. Oh, my gosh. 5 minutes to go. Broncos get a fresh set of 6, 30 metres out from the line. Oh my goodness me. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, guys. The Broncos, their season comes down to this. The Panthers, their season comes down to this. Oh my goodness me. If the Broncos win this game from here, I don't think you will have ever seen a louder crowd at Suncorp Stadium, and that includes Origin. Willie says, I'm protesting for Reece Walsh to drink more toilet water. Mitchell says, Edwards loves to drop ball in the second halves too. He does. 23 Hawaii says, Broncos defend like your season's on the line. Well, they're on the attack right now, and here we go. Panthers need to defend this set like their season is on the line, like their streak is on the line right now. 4.5 minutes to go here. First tackle for the Broncos. 23 metres out. Ben Hunt to Xavier Willison. The streak is on the line right now. The grand final is on the line right now. Second tackle, 15 metres out. Ben Hunt goes to the right-hand side to Adam Reynolds. Adam Reynolds at the back into Reece Walsh. Reece Walsh! Oh! Oh! Dane Mariner! Dane Mariner! He scored! I think he scored! It's 14-14 with a kick to come. Oh, no, they're going to check it. I have called a try. It's from the sideline. Reece Walsh needs to kick it. Oh, my goodness me. Oh, my goodness me. They have to confirm this try, but Reece Walsh has to kick this. He missed an easy one from in front. Oh my gosh. And Nathan Cleary can still kick a 2-point field goal. Oh my goodness me. We might be seeing the end of the streak here, guys. The streak might be about to end if this is a try, if it confirms as a try, and then if Reece Walsh kicks it. Reece Walsh, kick this, please. Walsh, big offload there to Dean Mariner, and then Mariner steps inside. Oh! Let's just make sure he doesn't make a double movement here. Let's just make sure it's not a double movement here. Mariner. No, I think that's enough momentum. I think it's enough momentum there. I think it's enough momentum. It is 50-50 here, Roger, but I think it's enough momentum for a try. 4 minutes 3 to go here. They haven't confirmed this try yet. Just comes down if he moves his arm here. No, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Try confirmed. All right, Reynolds is kicking it, not Reece Walsh. Reynolds is kicking it. Reynolds is kicking it. It's 14-14 from the right-hand sideline. There's still time here for the Panthers regardless. But Reynolds. Oh my goodness me. The Broncos. This will take them into the lead to potentially send them to the grand final. This is from the right-hand side. Oh my goodness me. Either way, Nathan Cleary still has a chance to tie this game up. But that 2-point penalty they didn't take, remember when I was saying how important that might have been? Well, Adam Reynolds from the right-hand sideline. 3 minutes 20 to go here. 3 minutes 20 to go. Will Reno get it? Will Reno get it? Will Reno get it? He will! 16-14 Broncos, 3 minutes to go. Oh my goodness me, Brisbane in front. And this is exactly how we called the game at the beginning of the game. Panthers are the best first half team in the comp. They follow in the second. The Broncos are the best second half team in the comp, but they're not good in the first. The Broncos have taken the lead at 16-14. Oh my gosh, this could be the moment the Panther streak is done unless they can come up with an absolute miracle right now. 3 minutes to go here of the game, guys. We might be seeing history right now. 3 minutes to go. And the Storm, they're going to be loving this, by the way. Geez, our grand final should be a belter next week. The Panthers here at the 50. The 2-point penalty, the 2-point field goal comes into play with the Panthers. They'll go for the short droppy here. They will, and they put it up. It's in a good area. The Panthers coming through. The Broncos do get it. Okay, 3 minutes and 4 seconds to go here at the game. Just don't make any stupid mistakes here, Brisbane. And he's going to slow it down here, Dean Mariner. He's going to slow it down here, Dean Mariner. Oh, don't just play it. Just play it here, Dean Mariner. You're not getting any penalty for this. Mariner goes up, comes down. Yeah, no, he's milking something. There's no penalty there. All right, so Broncos now at the 35-second tackle. 3 minutes to hold out here, Broncos, to end the streak and get into the grand final. They go to the left-hand side here to Ben Hunt, then off to Smoothie. Smoothie, third tackle, 2 minutes 44 to go here of the game. They go to the left-hand side. Keep commenting in the chat, guys. Who do you think wins from here? Fourth tackle now at the 48. You've got 2.5 minutes to hold out here, Broncos. And then the streak would be over. They go to Payne Haas. Haas now is going to be at the 40 on fifth tackle. You're still going to get another set here, Panthers. They go to the right. Ben Hunt, Adam Reynolds. Adam Reynolds at the 35. He kicks that ball into the corner. Don't give away. 7 tackle set. Dylan Edwards gets to the 5. You've got to go 100 metres here, Penrith. One chance for the Panthers. First tackle, 5 metres out. They go to the right. Brian To'o. To'o is going to be taken down now at the 5-second tackle. 95 metres they have to go. Well, no, they're just going to get inside the attack at 40, and right now they're not doing that. Edwards, he's going to get slammed by Tony Staggs. Staggs, oh, that's going to be a penalty. It's a penalty. Yeah, no, Staggs, that wasn't the play there, bro. I think Edwards has milked that, but oh, that was a risky one there from Edwards. The Panthers will get a penalty, and now the Panthers are going to, by the end of this set, they're going to have an opportunity. They are going to have an opportunity. They're at the 20. They're going to get a fresh set. That is a stupid play there from Tony Staggs. All right, Casey McLean. He's going to bring this ball out here to the 30 on first tackle. If Nathan Cleary is the GOAT, right now he will kick a 2-point field goal at the end of this set. Garner's going to get taken down here at the 35. 1 minute 25 to go here of the game. They go to the right-hand side. Lindsay Smith after Wazayo, Nathan Cleary. Cleary at the back of Edwards. Edwards here, he's got space. He gives it over to Tungo. Tungo gives it over to the right-hand side. Pull out Motti. Adam Motti. Oh, close to a high tackle there as a man. Their third tackle at the 40 on the attacking side. If they score a try, they win and go to the grand final. If Cleary kicks a 2-point field goal or a 2-point penalty, then we got extra time. They go to the left-hand side of Nathan Cleary. Cleary at the 30. He goes back to the right-hand side. Yo here to Lindsay Smith. Lindsay Smith at the back here to Moses Leota. They're 20 metres away. He's going to be 20 metres out. They're going to have to pass this ball all the way back here to the 40. No, they're going for the try. No, at the back. They give it all the way at the back here to Nathan Cleary. No way, that was the wrong play, but Cleary runs out of the right-hand side. They give it off here to Dylan Edwards. Edwards, he's missed it. The Broncos, they're going through to the grand final. That's it. The Broncos are going to beat the Panthers and they're going to get through to the grand final. It's over. Oh my gosh. It is over. The Panthers dynasty is over. The Panthers dynasty is over. The streak is done. The streak is done. There's 30 seconds to go here. What a game. 30 seconds, just don't make a mistake here, Brisbane. They need to just make one-on-one tackles and go over the strip here, Penrith. The Broncos left-hand side, 19 seconds to go here. First tackle. Oh, the atmosphere's massive. There's 11 seconds left. The Panthers, their streak is over. Second tackle, Reece Walsh. He's going to run it out the back here. And the Broncos, you are through to the grand final for 2025 to take on the Melbourne Storm. The atmosphere is fired up and we have a different grand final. How good is rugby fucking league, baby? How good is rugby league? How good is rugby league? How good is rugby league? The streak is over. Wow, Panthers says no ring yet. No, we're not. I'm not even celebrating that because I'm not a Broncos fan at all. But wow, I called that game to a T though, didn't I? Except for the fact that I thought the Panthers maybe had to hold out, but I said Panthers best first half team in the comp, not a good second half team in the comp. They fall away. Broncos not a good first half team, but they're the best second half team in the competition. Broncos Storm next week, repeat of the 2006 grand final. Those two teams hate each other. I just hope this wasn't the grand final for the Broncos because that was an incredible effort there. But the Broncos, they have gotten their revenge for 2023 and they are going to be facing one of their arch nemesis, their biggest rivals of the last 30, 40 years. They are going to be taking on the Melbourne Storm. Wow-wee. Jared Farmody says, loving the energy plays. That was amazing. Mate, this is rugby league, baby. This is why we love this sport. And I will be here for the Dally M on Wednesday. We will be here for the grand final next week. My goodness me. David says, thanks for a great commentary. Get around you, David. Cody Wooden says, great game. I've been saying the last 15 minutes on edge. Mate, this has been a hard one for me to just go, to be able to communicate everything that's happening, but I've done my best. What an exciting time. Olivia's I'm crying. Now, happy for you, Olivia. Happy for you, Olivia, and I'm happy for the NRL that it's going to get. For the betterment of the enjoyment of a fresh team, we are not going to see the same team win for 5 years straight. We may see the Storm get up from, 5 years ago in 2020, but also we either see the Storm from 5 years ago win or the Broncos from 2006 win. And the last time the Broncos won the premiership, here's a stat for you, the last time the Broncos won the premiership in 2006, they played the Melbourne Storm. They won 15-8. They won 15-8 in that game. Sean James says, awesome call, mate, for a cracking game. Shit happens. Amazing game, bro. Uz McGabba says, I'm a Days Broncos. I love you. Mark Abrams says, couldn't be more happy. Go Broncos. Monkey Muay Thai says, what a game up the Bronx. Rick Ozzie says, fantastic call listening from Bergamo in Italy. Go Storm. Get around you, Rick Ozzie. Well, good luck next Sunday. We'll be live for it. Uz McGovern says, BK, you were 100% right when you said the Panthers will have the better first half. Yeah, well, the only thing I did get wrong in regards, I thought the Panthers would be able to hold out in the second half if they were down. Well, if we go back to the pre-stream, when I was predicting this game, I said, again, the Panthers are the best first half team of the comp, but they fall away in the second half. They were up by 8 against the Storm and lost. They were up by 8 against the Raiders and lost, and then they were up by a significant amount against the Dragons, and then still won the game because they scored 40, but the Dragons came back in the second half, and then the Bulldogs game, they lost the second half 18-10. Now, arguably the game was over and they'd thrown it away, but ultimately it was a trajectory that we'd noticed across the back part of the season where the Panthers were throwing away games late in the second half, whilst the Broncos, on the other hand, they are a team that starts off very, very slow and struggles, but as long as they're not down by, and I said this before the game, 18-24, there was every possible opportunity that if they were anything less than 18, that they were able to win this game and to go on and win it and to to put themselves into a good position to come back in it. And that's exactly what they did. Now, throughout the game, I did kind of come around on this and say, well, 14-0, I don't know if the Panthers are going to give that up. But in the second half, you could see a switch. And that's exactly what these two teams play. The Panthers have struggled in the back end of games. The Broncos have flown in the back end of games. They've done the same thing to the Raiders. They've done the same thing here to the Panthers. Can they do it against the Melbourne Storm, who also have a bit of, something on their mind? The Panthers didn't know how to finish that game off, by the way. Why pass the ball to Isaiah Yeo? They didn't realise it was a fifth tackle to pass the ball back to Nathan Cleary at the 40. They have to think about this. You are the 4-time premiers in a row. You've been in 5 grand finals in a row. You know how to get to the grand final. You're not even thinking of fifth tackle to pass the ball back to Nathan Cleary, which is exactly what you did against the Gold Coast Titans 5-6 weeks ago. So how are you not thinking about the fact that you have to pass that ball back to Nathan Cleary at the 40 when you've done that before about 2 months back against the Titans? It was a lack of game managing there and a lack of leadership in a team that should have plenty of leadership and plenty of game managing. And Nathan Cleary and Isaiah Yeo, Blaze made a big ballsy call also with that knockdown. Not the greatest there. But the point of the matter is that was an exceptional game, and the Broncos deserve to win it because this is exactly how these two teams have played throughout this season. I want to say to Panthers fans, regardless of what has happened, you have had a fantastic run. You can still come back next year and win it again. But next year is always never promised. But the main thing I want to reference here is that you were in 17th position and got all the way to the prelim. You've got to really put your hand in your back and really celebrate the fact that you were able to make a season out of this. You were able to do something that nobody really has ever been able to do before, except for maybe the Parramatta Eels in 2009. And that's be in last position halfway through the comp and still find a way to get into the prelim. So look, we're going to celebrate this as avid watchers of the game. I'm super happy that we're going to see a different grand final here. The Broncos have ended the streak. And it's better for the promotion of the game. It's better for the promotion of the game, which is really exciting, man. Really exciting. Captain says, good game, Bronx. You guys did well. Clippy Wooden says, great stream, mate. I'll be tuning in grand final day. Looking forward to it. Ethan Jackson says up the Bronx. Billy says the most questionable decision from the Panthers was not taking the 2-point options they had. Billy, this is what I said at the time. It takes the Broncos out of the game. And Cooper Croc was questioning at the time too. When the Panthers received that 2-point penalty, they're up by 8 points. They're up 14 points to 6. Now, a lot of people will question it and go, well, if you take the 2 points here, you're only going from 8 to 10. It doesn't really do much. But you know what it would have done? It would have taken the crowd out of the game. That's the first points of the second half. It would have taken a lot of wind out of the sails of the Brisbane Broncos. They would have had that 2 points there, and then if the Broncos still found a way back into the game, it would have been 16-16, and the Panthers wouldn't have been under as much pressure as they were. This was a real questionable game in regards to the Panthers in finding a way in the back part, finding a way in the crunch, which is not what they usually do. They did the complete opposite thing to what the Panthers would normally do. And they went away from what they are best at. That's 1 of 4 premierships in a row, and that's the biggest questionable thing the Panthers did. So I agree with you. Ben says that was very uncharacteristic miscommunication from the Panthers with that missed Cleary opportunity. However, what a match. XXD places, why would you run it? Just should have shot the field goal. So I don't think that they were clicked on at the time, mate. I think they realised they were down by 2 and they were in the 20, so their brains automatically went for the try. I think that once Isaiah Yeo gets that ball and Cleary's not back in preparation for that 2-point field goal from the 40, I think that once you've done that, just go for the try. It's make or break. It's right now. We either make the grand final right now with a score or it's done. We either do it right now and win it, or it's done. You don't then flick the switch. Cleary is now rushing to get back to the 40. Isaiah Yeo doesn't get a great pass away, and they're under pressure immediately. And then Edwards has to kick it? The fuck? Edwards has to kick it? At that point, screw the 2-point field goal. You have to go for the try, but they were under so much pressure because of that lack of 2-point penalty that they took, that they just didn't know what was going. It was so much miscommunication, and that's why they lost the game. Marcy Playgrounds is 8 points and 2 scoring plays. 10 points is 3 scoring plays. What? I don't know why you're trying to correct me on something. And also, no, 10 points is not 3 scoring plays. What? Do you realise that 6 points are a try if you get the conversion? 6 is 12. What planet are you living on? Yun says, looking forward to the Broncos win the Shield. Well, be good game. We'll be there next Sunday. We'll be live next Sunday. We'll be here on Dally M night. On tomorrow, guys, we'll be live with the Cowboys. I was going to do the Cowboys yesterday, but I was watching the AFL Grand Final and the NRLW and whatnot. So tomorrow we'll be doing the North Queensland Cowboys postseason review. On Tuesday we'll be doing the Parramatta Eels postseason review. On Wednesday we'll be live here for the Dally M night, which is going to be absolutely massive. I'm really looking forward to that. I think Ethan Strange is a bit of a smoky to win that Dally M. He's been nominated for 5A of the year too. I think he gets that. On Thursday, I think it is the Manly Seagulls. And then on Friday, Redcliffe Dolphins. Saturday will be the Sydney Roosters. And then Sunday will be all three grand finals. Host Boss Cup versus New South Wales Cup. The Broncos versus Roosters women's, and then the Broncos versus the Storm. By the way, Broncos fans, you have 3 teams in grand final day next week. The Burleigh Bears won. They're in the grand final next week against New South Wales in the New South Wales Cup. The women's team, the Broncos women's team, is on the grand final, and then the men's team is also here for the grand final. So you've got a big Sunday next week, Broncos fans. You've got a massive Sunday. Nikhil says, what a game that was. Grand final should be epic. Absolutely. Uzbekapa says, how did Nathan Cleary not get sin binned after punching Ezra? No, sorry. That's just, it wasn't happening. Nathan Cleary wasn't getting binned there. Ezra Man wasn't getting binned there, but Liam Martin should have been binned. Liam Martin should have been binned for sure. Jeff Money says, Reynolds, nearing the end, was playing back into form, so good on him. Yeah, it was good. Jeff Mars says, brother, the Bronx are bloody legends for doing the impossible. Well, it wasn't the impossible because this is the way the game shaped up from before the game started. It was just the Panthers didn't get a good enough of a lead in the first half, which is what we expected. We expected the Panthers to take the lead. But 14 points clearly wasn't good enough. They needed to get that 2-point penalty, which I believe would have stopped a lot of that momentum in that back end of the second half because they would have taken the crowd out of it. And that was the problem. Uzbekapa says, oh yeah, I forgot to say how Liam Martin full on charged them when they were on the floor. Yeah, but you're talking shit about Nathan Cleary. But in regards to Liam Martin, should have been binned. No, Liam Martin should have been binned. Let's go. Oh, Duraz, if you didn't watch that game, you just missed out on an absolute romper stomper. Absolute romper stomper of a game. Absolute romper stomper there, Duraz. Meta Edit says, Welsh was so good in it. Let's go. Pokemon says, you have no idea, shut your mouth. Yeah, I'm probably going to go with the person who watches every game comparatively to the Pokemon dealer. But thank you for your opinion, Mr. Let's Go Pokemon. Clippy Wooden says, finals leeway is why Cleary didn't get sent off. Yeah, not really. Destin says, I've genuinely not wanted to cry after a win, but that felt like a hard win, man. No, absolutely. I would have cried if that was the Titans, mate. I would have cried. I would have cried deluxe. I would have bawled my eyes out, son. Objective Vortex says, this is why I love the NRL. That's what I was saying at the end of the game. How good's rugby league? How good is rugby damn well league, son? How good is rugby damn well league? Fig Jam J says, great win for the Broncos. Jared Farm Money says, I'm looking forward to seeing how the Broncos approach the grand final. Hunt hasn't played a grand final since 2015 as well, so good to see him get a chance at redemption. Absolutely. I think that this Broncos team is going to be super interesting how they build into this game because you've got to remember the Storm have 2 extra days of preparation for this game. The Storm played on Friday, the Broncos played today, which means the Storm get a 9-day turnaround, the Broncos get a 7-day turnaround. The Broncos still should be good enough, but this game here, the Storm vs Sharks game wasn't as intense as what this game was with the Panthers, and the Broncos are coming into that game against a team that was in the grand final last year and lost to the Panthers. The year before that, the Broncos lost to the 2 teams that have most recently lost in the grand final are playing for a win in the grand final this time around. It's going to be really interesting to see how much this game took a toll on the Broncos. Is this the game that was their grand final? Is this the game? Or will the Storm just make too many errors? Will they not be able to take this win? It's going to be a belter next week, lads. It's going to be a belter. Destin says, it's so bittersweet because if the Broncos lose another grand final, it will break me. Yeah, I know, it's hard. If the Broncos lose another grand final in heartbreaking circumstances, like how do you build back from that? User says, this was some of the worst attack I've seen all year from Brisbane, and they still managed to pull it off. Nah, hats off to them. I hope they get it done. They deserve it. Nah, I don't agree with that take. Panthers are very good defensively. Again, first half, Broncos are never good. Second half, they played exactly how we expected. They did get quite lucky. in a couple of the tries, though, to be fair. Like with that knockdown from Nathan Cleary, if he intercepts that, I feel like that's game over. Because he knocked it down, Xavier Willison picks it up and scores. Also with the Reece Walsh shoving that ball out to the right, they got very lucky that Dean Mariner was able to get over the line there. But with that being said, they still scored. And no, I disagree. I disagree that the Broncos had horrible attack. I think the Panthers had really good defense in a lot of ways, just like the Broncos had very good defense in their defensive 20 to not let the game get away from them when the Panthers had every opportunity to let it get away from them. Marcy Playground says Blaze was over the line twice and clearly held the ball. What? And clearly held the ball? What? Scott James says Broncos going to have their own dynasty 2015-23 going for a 3-peat. Jared Family says, the layers you've just added there, man. I'm so excited for next Sunday. Yeah, exactly right. There's plenty to go into next Sunday, man. David says we have the blueprint to frustrate and beat Melbourne. Don't think so. Watch round 27. No, but I'll go back on you there, David, and say I disagree on the basis that, not saying that I disagree with your original take, but to reference round 27 is ridiculous. Round 27, the Broncos had to win to get into the top 4. The Melbourne Storm played for absolutely nothing. They were locked in for second with a win and second with a loss. You know, it was also at Suncorp. This game will be at a core stadium, another one. But at the end of the day, despite the fact that the Storm went a little bit weird and played their full-strength team, you could very much tell the Broncos needed to win that game. The Storm didn't care about that game. And we mentioned that throughout the entirety of the game. So whilst the Broncos can absolutely win this game against the Storm in the grand final, round 27 isn't a reference point. Round 27 is a completely different game. You saw across the last round of the season where very clearly the teams that had something to play for and the teams that didn't have anything to play for, the team that had something to play for won the game ultimately, right? Because the intention is there. So this is now a 100% motivation for the Storm to repeat from, to go one better than last year and for the Broncos to go one better than 2023. You know, there's the intention there for both these teams. Very different game to what round 27 was. Very different. Can the Broncos win? Absolutely. Can the Storm win? Absolutely. Round 27 is not exactly a reference point. Caitlin says, well, look at Raiders versus Sharks. What does that have to do with anything? What? Steve says, we did it, baby. Yeah, you did, mate. You did. It was really exciting. Really exciting. Fletch says, if Cleary wasn't such an idiot in the second half, maybe Panthers would have won. I think this game comes down to the Panthers in general, mate. I think it's a team game, and they weren't able to get the job done. It's just as simple as that. I can't look at just Nathan Cleary. I've got to look at the team as a whole, and this has been a trajectory across the back end of the season. David says, the real question is, will you finally back us in? What do you mean, though? Like, what do you mean? At the end of the day, I gave you guys every opportunity to win this game. Like I said, that I said I was tipping the Panthers 1-12, provided they could hold out from the lead at half time, and that was before the game started. And the game at half time was super close in a lot of key aspects, but if the Panthers could hold out the second half and prove wrong what they've been doing, then I gave the Broncos every opportunity to win the game. I also said the Broncos had every opportunity to win the Raiders game. You know, the Broncos Storm game, I can't give you a tip right now because I need to look well and truly into it, but it's going to be a very interesting one where Broncos fans are going to be, you know, super confident. And I can tell you right now, Storm fans will also be relatively confident. You know, the Storm would have preferred to play the Broncos than the Panthers, and the Broncos would have preferred to play, I believe, still the Sharks, but that would have been a bit of a trap game in a lot of ways. So this Broncos Storm game, you've got to remember, like, people are going to reference that round 27 game that lacks a full-blown context in that game. It lacks full-blown context. But, you know, the Storm have got the wood over the Broncos since 2006. 2006, the Broncos beat the Storm 15-8 in the grand final. Since that point, the Storm have well and truly had the wood over the Broncos. They win more games even at Suncorp. One game there in round 27 that lacks a lot of context in regards to the intention for the game. Does not just then say that the Broncos are now going to be, you know, the easy winners. Like, at the end of the day, the Storm came second, the Broncos came fourth. The Storm made the grand final last year. Broncos made it year beforehand. But the Storm have every right to win that game just as much as the Broncos do. Usman Kappa says, hats off to Reynolds. I'm going to say I underestimated him a lot. He had a good game today. Yes, the Broncos were scoreless in the first half, and yes, the Panthers were scoreless in the second half. Marcy? Yes. Put the eliminated side of Panthers. That'll be so satisfying. Yeah, that's right. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, no, we'll put them on now. Yeah, we will. We'll put them on now. The Panthers, you're gone. And guess what? That means that no team outside of the top 4 can win the comp again, so that record will remain intact. That record will remain intact as we see second versus fourth. Oh, sorry, I'm just going to have to move these eliminated around a little bit to make it a lot more even. By the way, guys, if you haven't already, go subscribe to BKRtravel in the pinned comment. We're almost at 1,500 subscribers over there, and we'd really appreciate it if you could get around that. We'll have our Las Vegas hotel review coming out tomorrow. We've got some videos there from questions you guys have asked me, actually, from the last couple of days. Lockie says, fun fact, Adam Reynolds started the dynasty with a goal kick at Suncorp and also ended the dynasty with a goal kick at Suncorp. Adam Reynolds started the dynasty with a goal kick at Suncorp? Do you mean with the interception? With a goal kick at Suncorp? Patrick says, put an eliminator on Broncos while you wrote it. I will not be doing that one, sir. I will not be doing that one. I will not be doing that one. But gee whiz, we've had a massive stream here today, guys. Yeah, but the miss of the kick in the 2021 grand final isn't what lost the Rabbitohs the game. What lost them the game was that intercept. They would have won if they had gone short rather than gone for the cutout. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. I can understand the technicality of 2 points there, but realistically, that's not what lost the Rabbitohs the game. In my personal opinion anyway, but I get you. I do understand what you're trying to get at there. But guys, we're going to jump off it for now. We'll see tomorrow for the North Queensland Cowboys postseason review. Wednesday, we've got the Dally M's be here. It'll be a massive night, and then we will be here on next Sunday for a huge day of Burleigh Bears versus, I think, New Zealand Warriors in the New South Wales Cup. I think. Who won that game? Who won that New South Wales Cup game? And then the women's game between the Broncos and Roosters, and then the men's game between the Broncos and Storm. I want you quickly in the comment section, who won? New Zealand Warriors, or was it the Dragons? Warriors won. Warriors won, there you go. So Warriors versus Burleigh Bears, and then Broncos versus Roosters women's, and then Broncos versus Storm in the men's. So huge day for Brisbane. Huge damn well day. And also, no New South Wales team has made the grand final. So for all those New South Wales fans to say that Queensland doesn't get grand finals, and also that they always have that banter in response to Origin, well, they don't even have that this year. Gee whiz. But I appreciate you guys. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Appreciate you for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.